There we go. So first, I want to give a huge shout out to someone who is sponsoring us. They are called Preppy Pop. It is a new clothing company, and they are making these amazing shirts, which I am wearing right now. You can't quite see, but
Yeah, show us the shirt model.
one of my favorite female characters, speaking of, is Olive Oil. And look at
Oh,
how
that's so
cool this
cool.
shirt is. Isn't this nice? You saw it. I showed you a picture of it before.
Yeah, they
And
actually have really great wearable merchandise you can wear to work
mhm.
casually. Like it's a great idea because most of the stuff you see out there, t-shirts and things like that, or just very big graphic prints, great for after work, but
Mhm.
how else can you show your Toon pride when you're at work, Speaking of pride. So
But yeah, these are a bit more stylish, chic, geek kind of
yes,
look,
geek geek,
if you
yes.
will. So they were nice enough to give me a coupon code for this live. So the coupon is "I'm not bad" in all capital letters. So if you go to Preppy Pop, please use the code "I'm not bad." It's good for 30% off. You can also follow them on Instagram. Please do, because I want more people to see them because they have really great stuff. They have Popeye characters right now, and they have the Smurf characters right now. So
Exactly.
again, the code is "I'm not bad," and you can use that now through June, and you can get 30% off. So I'm
Now,
really,
any idea where that promo code inspiration came from?
I don't know. It was they made it up. I
Really?
had nothing. They actually did. They did make it up.
I was
I had
about to
nothing
say,
to do with it.
I was about to say that is just too coincidental, but
Exactly.
so
Well,
appropriate, so appropriate.
right, right. Well, they knew me. They knew me right away. We got each other. They got
That's
me immediately.
Hey, that's a great way to start the night. You hit it off, and who knows where it's gonna go.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I didn't. We didn't take it that far yet, but
Nope.
we'll see. I mean,
Shots for everybody.
I want to talk a little bit why we decided to do this and what we were thinking about is, and it's something you and I probably have dealt with before.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, Growing up, and I'm not going to say when that was. They can figure out the year for themselves. We're going to pretend that was not that long ago, but it was
I
in the
mean,
past.
the
It was
toys
sometime in the
themselves will
past.
date us. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, then let them do the math. That's okay.
get your
But
calculators out, kids.
exactly. Um, but when we were growing up, it was hard for us to fully enjoy, I guess, the characters we liked and the toys we really wanted because a lot of them were female characters.
Yeah,
And I say that not to be, throwing labels out there, I guess. But that's, first of all, that's what you called when there was an action figure of a woman. She was the female figure. That was it. And there was always
and there
one.
was usually one, or there
Mm-hmm.
was one good person and one villain. That
Mm-hmm.
was it.
Mm-hmm. And you called them the female action figures, which now you wouldn't even do that today because there's so many. You wouldn't need to
Right.
use that term,
Yeah.
but I did. We did. Because it was the one figure, and I think for us growing up, especially in that time period, um, it was hard because those were the characters we loved. Those were the ones we wanted. And there might have been a lot of judgment around that. There might have been a lot of, negativity around that we couldn't have this figure because it was a girl or something
Right.
like that. And we weren't allowed, certainly weren't really allowed to play with Barbies. We had to steal them from our friends or from our sister or something like that,
Yeah.
or Shira figures or whatever they may be. There was like this stigma around it, and I think that really, for me anyway, it had an effect growing up because I just wanted to appreciate these characters. I just
Right.
wanted to play with these toys because I
Exactly.
idolized them.
For me, it was. I didn't look at it as a male, female, boys. I always looked at it as this was the cast of characters
Mm-hmm.
that were a part of this show that I loved,
Mm-hmm.
and to exclude one of those characters because of boys don't play with,
Mm-hmm.
that just never hit me. Like, it just was like, well, why? That doesn't make any sense. Like, how am I supposed to like have these awesome, cool adventures without this one character that,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that character has a special talent or, a special power or whatever, or is the leader of something. And it's like, really? It's a girl and I can't have a girl? Like, what's that about? So You know,
Mm-hmm.
things like that really kind of, you know, they stuck with you, and then it kind of that mental voice that you get sometimes when, I don't know about you, but even today, when you go out physically into a store,
Mm-hmm.
and it almost feels like you're getting away with something because you're an adult now, right?
Yes,
So you
it
are
does.
able to
Yeah.
make your own decisions. You're a grown up. You can
Mm-hmm.
make these decisions to say, I am going to get this figure. But even a little twinge sometimes kicks in me and goes, yeah, but it's a girl's toy. And then
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
immediately right after, it's like, who cares? Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? I love all of them. But particularly the females have always resonated with me. And I don't know if
Yeah.
it's because of the kind of outcast kind of feeling they got from the toy companies. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the connection was, but the female characters always resonated with me. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, same here, same here, and it's the same for me too. And I'll still use the self checkout at Target if I'm buying some figure because I still
you know,
don't necessarily want people to see, you
and
know.
that's honestly that's the thing too, that the judgment is still there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't care anymore. I go through, if
Mm-hmm.
it's a live cashier, I will still go through the line. I will walk out with stacks of Barbies, or if I find a new Masters of the Universe Origins figure,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, Wonder Woman, whatever. I walk out with that figure in hand proudly. Now, if they make a remark or a comment, I'm straight up forward with them anymore. Oh, is it somebody's birthday? Oh, what a good dad. Oh, you're cute.
Mm-hmm.
No, these are for me. These
Mm-hmm.
are for me. So what now? What are you going to say
Exactly. Did they say you were being a good dad, or that you were a daddy?
now?
Maybe you misunderstood what they were trying to say.
No, I think it was definitely the implication that I had children. So
Okay. Well, then either way, that would work. I mean,
yeah,
you were the daddy either
I
way.
feel like in Western Pennsylvania, in this area that I live in, you know, it's still a very we're a few steps behind a lot of other cities in
Mm.
you know, in the nation as far as that ideal, you know. So it's like, you know, but like I said, I'm proud. I go in and I buy what I want. Say what you want to me, it doesn't faze me, because guess what? I've heard it all before.
Mm.
I'm beyond it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy my life and my toys and buy whatever the heck I want. So
Somebody, I just caught somebody join the chat, and their screen name is the Dolly Llama.
oh
D O
my god,
L L
yes,
Y.
Lily.
That
Lily
is
is
a
amazing.
great
Hi,
name.
Lily.
I guess what we can do then next is we are going to discuss the five character, not top five. We couldn't do it. We really tried to do a
Yeah,
top
it's
10, top
hard.
five. I
It's
couldn't do
hard.
it. You kept saying no, wait, put this one on, and I was like, okay, we'll do. And I was like, wait a minute, I have like 10 more people. I can't. It's just not a
Well,
possible thing.
and to come to a decision is hard, but I kind of went through the beginning of life for me and who I came in contact with first,
Mm-hmm.
and and what they meant to me and things like that. So at the end of the day, that's kind of how I got my first five.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, if you know, I don't know how you came to your conclusion. That's kind of how I made the cut, though.
That's kind of I went with five characters that really meant some like really had more of an impact on me, at
Yeah,
least in the beginning. That really meant something, and it was really, if I had to pick five that I just couldn't get rid of, it would just be those five. So, and that still wasn't easy. I still had to
yeah.
move them around. Okay, so I am going to start. Um, this is probably someone who's going to would be on most people's list, and that would be gay, straight, everything in between,
Right.
and that is Princess Leia, of course. And I have the retro version,
Oh,
but
nice.
I had pretty much every version. I mean, there were only a couple. There were only about five at the time when I was a kid growing up,
Yeah.
and luckily for me, my family was okay when it came to Princess Leia. Certainly, it just they understood it. And quite honestly, it's not my fault because I was a baby and my mother bought me Princess Leia and Luke. So I had see that was what started it. I
Right.
can't be blamed for this. It was our fault all the way. So I think with somebody like Princess Leia, and I have the other retro one that came out as well,
Yeah.
and I had all these, and here I am buying them again. They made me do it. They suckered me into it. I'm
Yeah.
still enjoying it. All these years later, she was one of those characters that I think for gay men especially, I mean, it was just an obvious choice. It was just an obvious love for this character,
Right.
that she was strong. She, you know, wasn't the girl character. She was
Wasn't the
just
damsel in distress character. Yeah.
exactly. Right.
Because she kicked ass. I mean, let's just call it like it is. I mean, she was not, you know, oh, you think princess, it's like the fairy tale stereotype. No, it is not. It is just her. She's a ruler. She's a leader of her, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? But she's a
leader of the rebellion.
Yes,
she's the leader of
exactly.
yep.
Which will be, you know, used again very soon here. But ultimately, you know, she's an icon for that reason. And then, of course, you know, Carrie Fisher as an actress just really brought a lot to that role. So, you know, you have to respect Princess Leia for that time period too. When we're getting that kind of overlap from, you know, one decade to another when the franchise was filming,
right.
You didn't see that a lot. You didn't see the strong female leads. So
no. There were very few of them. There were very few. And I think, you know, especially being gay, when you see a woman who would take charge, and she was a person of power, she was a general, she was a leader, she was the head of things. I think to me was like, well, if this person could do it, so can I.
Right.
And for it being a woman, for some reason, I think for me being gay, I thought, well, anything's possible then. You know,
right.
it's speaks that to me.
That time frame too. To add on to that, you know, women were marginalized. They still are marginalized. I mean, at that point though, it was a hell of a lot worse for women. Women in the workplace was still such a foreign idea. You know, a strong woman was considered, you know, oh well, she's uncooperative and she's, you know, lack of a better word, bitch, right? So, you know, to have that role model for the marginalized female, or the, you know, maybe the marginalized, you know, gay male, female, you know, it was like a wake up call. It was like, hey, I can do that. That gives me an idea that I don't have to sit back and take what is just handed to me and do what is expected of me and live a happy life, because there's more to life than that. So
right, exactly. Yeah, and that is how it was back then. Way back. Just
back
if you were a woman, if you were gay, if you were anybody of color, you were marginalized and put in a certain area, like you weren't equal to. And I think for us, we just knew it. We felt it even as kids.
Right.
We understood, and that's why we love these characters so much, is because we could just see a bit of ourselves in them, and also think that they would sort of be on our side, you know, that they would be a protector, they would be a friend, they would be someone who would help us. So,
and you know what, and they look good doing it, you know. And I think that's the other thing of it is, you know, it's that old saying that, you know, Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did but backwards and in heels kind of thing. You know, it kind of makes you feel like, you know, given the adversity that, you know, was faced, it's like, okay, well, I'll do this and I'll do it better. And I'll look fucking fabulous while I do it. So
I'll do it in heels. Is exactly what it was.
So God knows we love a good stiletto boot.
Oh, yes. Stilettos, a fishy gown, whatever. I'm here for it. Then speaking of, I certainly love action figures that look like that. And let me check my files here and see what everything is filed and categorized. I've got Bespin Leia, I've got Yavin Leia, and she actually has real hair.
Nice.
And this is my all-time favorite Leia, which of course is the most controversial at the moment because of you know, back then we called it Slave Leia, and we didn't know any better. It's just that's what we called it. And
but once again, it kind of shows in that whole realm of that universe how a woman was still trying to be kept, you know, trying to be held back, trying to be enslaved. So
she was the prisoner. Yeah.
So it was like, you know, you don't have a voice, and your range of motion is as far as this chain allows you. The chains of society, the chains of male, you know, the patriarchy and what the
Mm-hmm.
expectation is, and it's, I mean, it's kind of, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, we as men
Mm-hmm.
identifying as male, we don't understand everything that women go through.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we see, so this is
Mm-hmm.
you know, this is just our observations.
Yeah.
If you have anything to add to that as a viewer, please, you know, let us know. If you know,
Oh yeah, yeah. We'd
add,
love to
please.
hear.
But
Mm-hmm.
just seeing just the observation of society, that's how I feel about it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, I'd like to think that, you know, things have gotten better to a degree,
Mm-hmm.
but just like with everything else, as society,
Mm-hmm.
we need to move forward and be in a better place with that too. Still, so
Yeah. See,
still,
I just wanted to wear the metal bikini.
oh
That's
well,
what I wanted to do. I would have looked horrible, but
do you have that? Do you
I
have
do
it
not.
to wear?
I do not have a metal bikini to wear. No, that
Oh,
would be torture. That would
all
be
right.
that would
Well,
hurt.
viewers, I'm
That would
sorry.
chafe.
There will be
Oh
a
no.
bikini
Oh,
fashion show.
that
So
would.
that's a
I'm sorry. That portion is canned. People would see that and they would be like, "Why is Chewbacca wearing that metal bikini? Why is that?
I
Why is that
mean,
happening?"
speaking of princesses with great power and great responsibilities, and my character is, of course, She-Ra, the Princess of Power.
Yes.
And She-Ra, as everybody on Instagram who's has any, you know, attachment to the toy, you know, world,
Mm-hmm.
knows that She-Ra, of course, is He-Man's Prince Adam, He-Man's twin sister, who was separated from birth. So this is vintage She-Ra, and I hate to call her vintage, but I think this is the original She-Ra.
The original, yeah, the OG.
From 1986. Well, let's see, 1985, 86. We'll say.
Gosh, was it then? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was 4 years old when I got her, so that would have been Christmas 1985. And she, of course, was marketed towards the girls because Mattel wanted to capture some more market share with the Masters of the Universe property, and they realized that little sisters were watching Masters of the Universe and identifying with the characters, especially Teela, who Teela is, of course, the captain of the guard of the Kingdom of Randor. So anyway, so She-Ra was developed with you know, the intention to bring that power, the I have the power, to the little girls.
Yeah.
She, of course, features rooted hair. So it was more or less marketed as a doll with action figure like features. So of course, you know, she has the fabric or the soft good pieces, but underneath we have a molded on, you know, bodysuit. Now, of course, everyone knows that the toys never looked like the Filmation cartoon. So this was definitely a stylized kind of, we'll say, Barbie-fied version of She-Ra. But I didn't care. I rooted hair on anything, and I'm sold.
I look great.
Right?
Exactly.
And the thing about her is that she was also Princess Adora. So with the, you know, change around of the outfit, the cape came off, and, you know, it was Princess Adora. It wasn't very Clark Kent Superman kind of transformation. It was very subtle for the toy. But ultimately, one fun fact too is, for anybody who doesn't know, is we all know the tiara to be worn like this, and she's actually Princess Adora in this tiara. When you flip it around, originally this was supposed to be a mask. So then she was She-Ra with kind of that hidden identity.
That's the change, yeah.
Yes. Now, Filmation did not adopt that transformation. Her tiara and everything was much different, and you'll see that actually with this reproduction kind of figure that they put out by Super 7, I believe. And this is how she looked on the Filmation cartoon. And this is kind of done in the style of those classic Masters of the Universe figures from the early 80s. So if She-Ra would have been, you know, a part of the Masters line, this is kind of how
she would have looked like.
Yeah, they envision her to look. And you can see her tiara is much different. Everything is on point with Filmation. So definitely a big contrast between, you know, the two figures here. So to me, She-Ra was the way that I was able to get. I initially always wanted Barbie. Barbie, as soon as I saw her out of the gate, I didn't know what she was about other than there was this gorgeous representation of a woman in a toy form. And I just saw blonde hair. I saw sparkles. I saw, over the top costumes, like, and just this lifestyle that had all of these great miniature things, like the car, the house, like, the clothing, of course. And
how you wanted to live, really.
Right. I wanted to live, and I wanted to have my best life through Barbie. But, at that point in my life, I was not allowed to have a Barbie. And I asked for any toy I ever wanted. I never had a problem asking for it, but the answer would always be, you can't have that. That's a girl's toy.
No dolls. Yeah.
So ultimately, when it came to the She-Ra doll or She-Ra figure, I had to plead my case and say, well, she's a part of He-Man's world. So and she's He-Man's sister. And kind of like with Princess Leia and Luke, a brother and sister. Okay, well, that makes sense. That was something that, but
goes together.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she was the only figure that I was allowed to have because she was the main character. I always wanted the Crystal Castle. I always wanted Crystal Falls. I wanted Mermista because I love mermaids.
So Freddie Bear is chiming in saying that he had Peekaboo and Flutterina.
Oh, nice. Nice. Well, and those when they started having the characters like Glimmer with the the lavender hair and Peekaboo with the green and all of those dolls that had these kind of fantasy colors, I was just anything that was in those fantasy pastels always caught my attention.
Those 80s type colors. Yeah, it was everything was brighter in the 80s. I can't believe that we have to sit here and sometimes still say to people you had to be there. I never thought living through the 80s that it would be that kind of thing. Everything is neon. It still is for me, as you can see.
It is. And I mean, look at your background. Look at your lighting. I mean, your lighting is pretty dope there with that neon pink. But that was it. That was life, and the fashions and everything, and just the over the top, just that kind of excess that trickled its way into everything. It was just like, even in She-Ra's world, because He-Man had Battle Cat, She-Ra had Swiftwind. Now of course Swiftwind looks different here in toy form than in the
show. Yeah,
but a pink horse with pink hair. Come on, who doesn't
wings
want that?
and exact hair you can braid?
It's perfect, So at the end of the day, I had She-Ra for a few years, and then as I got older, my parents made me kind of get away from some of the toys that they felt maybe were too feminine. Yeah. And She-Ra, unfortunately, was given to my friend who lived down the street, and it was the worst memory in the world, because my mom said to me the one day, maybe you should give away some of these toys to Jessica. I think she would be able to play, enjoy them more. Yeah. And I went, what do you mean? I still play with them.
They're mine.
Right. I mean, She-Ra, the first thing I ever did with She-Ra was put her in water because I wanted to see this hair under the water like a mermaid, right?
Like yeah.
I filled up the bathroom sink and put her under the water. But the gold, my She-Ra was so well played with that her gold on her boots was virtually gone.
Yeah, that's same with my Princess Leia. It was rubbing off a little bit, but I was I was so particular with how I held them and touched them. I still am.
Yeah. But so I've definitely made up for that as an adult, either collecting the new stuff that's out or trying to reclaim some of those older toys that I actually would have had as a kid had I been allowed. So
here is my favorite.
Oh,
Shadow Weaver.
Nice.
I loved Shadow Weaver, and they never made her back in the day. Yeah. So again, it was another one of those things. Yeah.
She's a very, very highly popular character and most requested when it comes to newer lines too. So.
And did you see they just dropped the trailer for the new He-Man series? Did you watch that? Oh, yes, it looks good. Excited. It looks really good.
The character design, not to get too far off topic here, but the character design and everything.
It looks really good.
Yeah, and that's like Rose and Eucalyptus just said he always wished that they would have made her back then. And it's cool.
Making up for it now.
Yeah, the customizers now have really gone to town with kind of creating. And I just want to give a shout out to Adam Shira Customs, who
Mm-hmm.
creates these amazing, one of a kind creations.
You would think they were made back then.
But
He
my God,
3D printed, paints them,
the,
and roots them
the
and everything.
accessories that he's making for She-Ra figures, the figures that he's actually making, and like he just did Madame Razz and Broom, who also never had a figure representation back then. You know,
you would think they were right the way he made them. You would think that they would fit right in. Yeah,
they look literally 100% Mattel authentic. It is insane how great of a job and how professional finished they are. Like, it's perfect. So shout out to him. If you guys aren't following, if you're a Masters of the Universe fan, Princess of Power, please follow Adam Shira's Customs for that. So
I've been following for a while now, and I every now and again I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe you can do this.
The talent that is out there, that people are just creating this stuff at home is insane to me, and it's I'm a little envious because I've always wanted to do that stuff.
Right.
So it's great to know that it's out there and being done. So, you know, kudos to these people that are out there. So
yeah, almost anything is possible. And honestly, with the toy companies now, they're being pretty generous on who they make and what they do. So that's actually been a lot better, I have to say.
It really has gotten better. Yes, in regard to the kind of forgotten about characters, for sure.
So, and speaking of, I'm going to talk about my next character. This is, well, I guess you would say certainly it is a character. It's from the wrestling world, if anybody knows. You may or may not know out there. WWF, it was back in the day, WWE now. And it's Miss Elizabeth. And this is actually a newer one that just came out recently. So again, speaking of making figures of characters from back in the day still, I just have been surprised to see this. I was shocked that they would, and it is by Mattel. So funny enough.
Yeah.
But
and she was actually, so at the original release of these figures, when was it LJN that did the wrestling figures?
Yeah, LJN did the original ones, and they were like rubbery. They were like rubbery figures from back in the day. And you could,
the LJN Miss Elizabeth, the shimmer skirt, yes.
Yes, yep. And they
shout out to Chris. Chris is a friend of mine, VHS Crypt. So shout out to him. If you guys don't follow him, he has a really great kind of account for finding these hidden treasures. So if you're ever looking for anything, check him out. And then his future brother-in-law actually has a wrestling account for toys too. So shout out to them.
Nice. Cool.
But, yeah, Miss Elizabeth. I used to remember her being such a glamorous contrast
to everything.
Very feminine and very just kind of like that kind of beauty queen kind of character of of the wrestling world as a kid. So, and I actually I always wanted her, but was never able to find her to even ask for her. So
yeah, I had family on the hunt for it, and my aunt had found it. She had to open the boxes, which you really couldn't do back then.
Right.
And there was like one, again, when it came to female figures, they short packed them. So you would only have one in every 2 or 3 boxes, and they were very difficult to find.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember seeing the LJN figure in a catalog. First thing I noticed was that it had a real skirt. And I was like, oh, I have to have it. So that's
like, she's like a doll, like
yes,
removable clothing,
as close as you can get to a doll in a male figure line, I suppose you could say. So, and then this is actually copies the same thing because you can take the clothes are real.
Yeah.
So you can take the skirt off separately. It's supposed to be based on SummerSlam when she removed her skirt, but. Elizabeth was always a big deal to me because, it was my father who had really introduced me to wrestling, and our whole family loved it, but in particular, me and him, we actually went to wrestling events and everything, which was actually really cool back then. And it was always just something really fun. And of course, as those LJN figures came out, collecting them all, and he understood it. He understood like I had to have them all.
Yeah.
So of course I got as many as I could, but he has since passed on. And what's crazy is that so has Miss Elizabeth. and
Yeah.
so has the Macho Man. So
I know, right?
it's just crazy how that all worked, because they were so popular, especially back then in the 80s. I mean,
Right.
they really, when it came to characters, it was Hulk Hogan, it was Macho Man Elizabeth. There was just a few people who really, I think brought it into the mainstream, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But
Well,
she
and the
was always somebody that I
storylines,
loved,
the
though.
storylines around Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, I mean, those were more of
That
that
was
kind of.
like soap opera.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That was more of the theatrics of it,
Yes.
There was always an ongoing storyline with them, and
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
really kind of kept that, a romance thread, if you will, running throughout wrestling.
Kept it interesting. It
Yeah,
wasn't just fighting. There was
yeah,
actual like chemistry and story and build up and
yeah,
yeah, I remember them fondly, because it was always, to me, that was the exciting part. Is working on there was actual vendettas happening. It wasn't just
right,
like two
right.
guys like wrestling or whatever. But I didn't ever get to meet her. I did speak to her on a call-in show once,
Oh, no
which
way.
was several years ago. So again, I was nervous as all hell. I couldn't talk. I don't remember really what I asked. I was a mess. It was terrible. But I did get to meet the Macho Man, and I like, most people would think he was just nuts. He was crazy. He was the nicest man. Like, he was
Wow,
he was doing autographs at a Nintendo Power convention, and
how
he
cool.
stayed the whole time signing every single last person's autograph
Wow.
for them. So he was really, really cool. So, it's sad that we've lost them so early, but I'm glad that their families and everything can still get to see how much people love them and
Right.
what they meant. And so again, it was another thing to me, being gay, and there's the only female character, you would say, in something that's so male dominant, so
Yeah.
testosterone driven, so hyper masculine as wrestling. I still had Miss Elizabeth. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like we said, the female figures were short packed.
mm-hmm.
So even in the wrestling assortment, it sounds like she was even more limited than any
Yeah.
other line, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things where, once again, it's just like that thought or that mentality that a female representation in a line geared towards little boys
Mm-hmm.
would not
Wouldn't
sell well.
sell.
Yeah,
Wouldn't sell. That's
so
exactly, yeah.
we'll represent her, but is she going to sell?
Minimally.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
minimally.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So your next character is very well known and has a movie that's coming out soon.
yes. Actually, it's. I think it's wrapping up filming, if I'm not mistaken. The newest installment of this story.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some stuff that has been leaked throughout Instagram. I've seen.
I did see. Yeah.
So we're kind of seeing, waiting to see when that actual release date and everything hits. But yeah. I mean, I think this, if I can be so bold as to say that this is the character for a lot of people that really either they remember as their first Disney princess, or the one that quintessentially really kind of brought them into Disney. I mean, I personally always loved the Disney movies,
Mm-hmm.
but like there was never really like a character like Snow White or Cinderella. Yeah, I liked them, but like
Mm-hmm.
I never really was like, oh my god.
The villains were better.
Yeah.
The Evil Queen was better.
Yeah. And so anyway, so Ariel, of course,
Mm-hmm.
is who I'm talking about. And, The Little Mermaid premiered, God, 30, how many years ago? 30 some years ago?
Oh gosh, yeah.
1989. A year after Roger Rabbit. So,
yep.
So Ariel hit the scene, made her splash, made her impression on me. And my backstory is more or less that kind of, the Ariel love came from the mermaids before that. So like Madison from Splash.
Yeah.
There was, I actually had this VHS tape I got in first grade from the book order that was an anime style, that it was, they had 3 stories. They did The Little Mermaid, they did Snow White, and then the Cobbler and the Elves, or the Shoemaker. And I remember the part that I watched the most was The Little Mermaid, and there was also a cartoon back in the early 80s called Sweet Sea. And
Oh, yes.
yeah, do you remember that? I
My
remember.
sister had the doll.
Oh my god, and that was by Tommy, and it was just a one doll with an inflatable like
Yep.
swim ring that was a
It
seashell.
sang, right? It had a
Yeah,
voice, right? Didn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like I remember those mermaids, and anytime a mermaid was ever in, whether it was Chicken of the Sea or whatever, it
Mm-hmm.
was like I memorized that. I loved it. I poured salt into my bathtub because of Splash because I wanted to turn into a merman.
Yep.
So, but Ariel and those releases. So
Well, they're
like
power characters. You know,
yeah.
the
So
again the transformation. Yeah.
and that's a big theme with a lot of the toys, the female figures of the 80s that I feel,
Mm-hmm.
so I have collected a lot of, different incarnations of Ariel in toy form. Some
Mm-hmm.
of the first that I remember, and I don't have her here, but the absolute first Ariel figure representation I ever remember wanting so badly
Mm-hmm.
is the McDonald's Happy Meal Premium.
It's so funny you said that because it just like floated, right? It's
Yes,
something
yes.
that
There were
floated.
four toys:
Yep.
Ariel, Eric in a boat, Ursula
Yep.
with a suction cup, and then Flounder that squirted.
Squirted that, yeah.
And so when the movie premiered that November, I remember it was Thanksgiving week.
Mm-hmm.
And on Thanksgiving, it was always tradition here in Western Pennsylvania, especially. But my family, they're big hunters. My uncles, especially. So my
Mm-hmm.
uncle would take us on Thanksgiving evening after dinner, and we
Mm-hmm.
would go and spot for deer, which you would sit in your car with a huge spotlight, and you
Mm-hmm.
stop in an area
Waiting.
and just look for deer. But the thing of it is, for us, it more or less was kind of like bonding time. So I didn't care about hunting. I didn't hunt. I still
Mm-hmm.
don't hunt. I'm not for it. I buy my meat in the grocery store. So, but we stopped at McDonald's, and he asked, he was like, "Hey, do you guys want to get like an ice cream or something?" Anyway, I got a Happy Meal, and I was so certain that I was going to get Ariel. And
Mm.
I opened the box, and it was Flounder. I was
I
so
knew you were
mad.
gonna say the
So
one you
mad.
wouldn't. Even Ursula would have been better.
Right. And I'm like, oh, and it's like, not that we didn't eat at McDonald's every week. We did eat at McDonald's every month. McDonald's for us was like a once in a while thing. So
Yeah.
the likelihood of me getting Ariel before the promotion ran out was like a very, very short window, right?
Mm-hmm.
So cut to 2 to 3 weeks later, and we stopped at McDonald's after a shopping trip, and I thought, I was thinking, there's no way. It's like the promotion's just about over. Like, anyway, long story short, I opened that Happy Meal box, that iconic house-shaped Happy Meal
Yep.
box.
That would carry. Yep.
And, as a kid, like with cereal or with the Happy Meal, I dig straight to the bottom. The food comes second. Meanwhile, my mom's like, hey, don't worry about the toy. Just eat your food first,
Mm.
So I moved my cheeseburger out of the way. There were some fries scattered. And then I see the back of her head, the round, and
Mm-hmm.
I was so happy. And instantly, that was the most important thing in my life at that moment, was having this little mermaid with, at the time, they gave her more of an orange tone hair.
Right.
And she was holding a seahorse, just kind of like really cute and everything. But anyway, from that point on, I was obsessed with Ariel. And I got, the little applause figurines here.
I remember those. Yep.
And, the little representations here. And then from there, I didn't have, my sister had the Tycho Ariel, but I was really not a fan of Tycho's Ariel very much. I do respect the fact that that's the first doll version we got of her. But I always liked Mattel's Disney dolls much better.
Right.
So then when Mattel started bringing Ariel on board, like in the late 90s, which actually this was the first Ariel doll that Mattel did, part of the musical Princess series.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those. Yeah.
So this was the first Ariel, but ultimately there have been so many versions, and then, one of my favorites, and thanks to one of my friends, this is my absolute favorite Ariel doll. This was an exclusive to the Disney Store back in 2006, I believe. So shout out to Collector. I think it's Collector Boy 30. If I got that wrong, let me know. But ultimately, he had her we decided that, you know, she was no longer, you know, a need or a want. So I benefited. I've been wanting her for so long. This to me is like the ultimate kind of Ariel doll, just because she's so well done with her seaweed cape and her long and amazing like fluke down here. But there was just something about Ariel that, you know, she was always treated, you know, by her father as, you know, you're 16 years old, you're
a little girl, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, but, you know, she had her own ideas, she had her own drive. Granted, the way she went about getting things done maybe wasn't the best,
right?
But, you know, we all make mistakes,
and we all understood being rebellious teenagers and how that was. It was the same thing. The Chris Clark page says that he has his Happy Meal toys in the shower to this day.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So there you go, showering up with Little Mermaid every day. Do you take a bath though? That's where you have to have it in the bathtub, right? Because they float and everything. So that, you know, I don't know how they would do in the shower, but
this, you know, the funny thing is too, like they kind of re-released some of the same ideas for those toys back in '97.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so.
So there's like a redone version of that Ariel for that '97 Happy Meal line, which I have her as well. But anyway, but yeah, so the Little Mermaid was just one of those fantastic. You know, she had that transformation scene, which, you know, gave her voice in trade for the legs, and you know, she's chasing her man. So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of one of those stories about, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's like we all kind of want this better life, or this, where we know there's more out there.
Right.
And that in a way kind of speaks to us in our community, because, you know, you kind of have this, you know, oh, well, you're supposed to be hidden and not seen, kind of, you know, it's, well,
too delicate and too, yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, no, like, we are going to follow our dreams, pursue our passions, and live our lives for us, for nobody else, period. You know?
Now, was there a Chase Gold Ariel at McDonald's at one point? Somebody's asking.
Yes, there was. So in '97, they had special solid gold colored figures of all the characters. So ultimately, there was an Ariel. There was I think there might have been like there was a big assortment during that time. So there might have only been a few figures that were gold. I'm not 100%. I'm sure you can Google that and find out a little bit better information. But I do remember them having quote unquote solid gold, because it was like a treasure hunt, you know, like kind of like
okay.
Ariel's grotto kind of treasure, you know, aspect of it.
Yeah, it looks like it's these.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Wow, it is the same thing. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I want to say there was a way to get you could find them in your Happy Meal, or you could get that whole set.
You could order them.
Yeah.
I would rather they just do that. That would have been so easy.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't have sold as many cheeseburger Happy Meals.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to make the money on the food.
Yes. So Ariel to me will always be the quintessential Disney princess. I love red-haired.
Probably the most popular, I think. Arguably, I feel like everybody talks about Ariel. I feel like that's what probably up there. There was a top
think
couple.
It's because too, this is a story that predominantly had more to do with a woman's right to choose.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Rights in general. Yeah.
So you know, just kind of rebelling against the expectation of society.
Being told no. Yeah.
And you know what? She didn't need her father's approval to live her life. She didn't need her sister's approval or her friends. You know, she went against Sebastian. At least Flounder supported her, but you know, it was kind of one of those things where I'm going to do it whether you're with me or not.
Right.
And it's, you know, it's what I want to do.
Taking risks, exactly, living life.
But you know, the Ariel merch is plentiful and still going strong, and you know, I'm really happy that Ariel does resonate with so many people for so many different reasons. But that was literally, you know, one of my favorite red-haired characters. So
that's a theme. There's a lot of famous red-haired characters. It's
really
interesting how that works out. Well, my next character is completely the opposite, but I'm sure everybody knows this character. I certainly grew up with her. It is Elvira,
Yeah.
Mistress of the Dark. Now, this is
Oh,
newer.
yes.
They didn't have much Elvira merch back in the day. There was a model kit, and I had the model kit, and I thought I could put it together with a glue gun, and that failed miserably.
You
Did
didn't
not work, or
you
almost
didn't
fell
use the
off.
tester's like chemical glue to put it together.
No, I thought a glue gun would hold it, and it worked for her body, and the arms fell off, so she looked like some statue of Venus or something like that, basically, with
Actually, that's
no
probably something
arms.
Elvira would be very happy with.
Probably would like that. Yeah, exactly. But not only is, I mean, come on, everybody loves the dress and the hair and the makeup. It's just like Dolly Parton in the negative, basically, is
Yeah.
what this is. It's just like the complete reverse,
Right.
image. It's like her distant cousin or something
Well,
like that.
and I think that's the kind of thing about Elvira was that it was just camp and it was the sexuality, this ultra feminine ghoul kind of, effect. And she was funny. I mean, she is still funny because she's still
Hmm.
around.
And looks the same somehow,
Oh my God,
or other. I don't know how.
yeah. I mean, her cleavage hasn't dropped an inch. So
Nope, nope. Everything on me is sagging. She's still the same. So she's still gonna.
oh
She's
girl,
still
you in
gonna. Yeah,
trouble.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I've been stuck home, so there's all that quarantine waste been putting on. But not only is she just a great character, but in real life, she is actually an LGBTQ
Alex,
plus supporter,
yeah.
very, very, very much so. And funny story is I've gotten to meet her on 3 occasions,
Oh wow.
and
In
the
character or outside? Okay.
both,
Oh wow.
both. So I met her the first time out of character. She was doing Elvira's Haunted Hills movie, and that was in 2001 or something. And at the time, my partner then he worked for a gay newspaper here, and I said, she is a gay supporter. Can you interview her? Is there a possibility? Like, so he put out a feeler, and they called, and it was actually her then husband said yes, but we're going to be in, I can't remember, it was Tampa or Sarasota. So we would have to drive there, and we would have lunch with them, basically. So I couldn't say no to that. So we did. We met. It was her then husband, and her friend, I want to say Sharon or Susan. Actually, I think it's Susan. And just started having lunch with Elvira as Cassandra. She was not in
Yeah.
drag at the time, and it was so bizarre. And we were talking back and forth, and we wanted her to maybe help on a project that we were doing later on if she was interested. But it was weird. It was weird to meet someone that you had idolized so much
Yeah.
and feel what it was like. She and her husband have since divorced, and it was obvious to me back then that something wasn't right because they were not happy with each other. I guess
Oh
you could
no.
say, and she's
Was
been open
was
about
the
that.
tension palpable? Like
There was, oh yes, there was tension there. Oh my goodness. And my then partner at the time, we were talking about it, and he was the one who set it up for us to meet her. She was going to come to Miami, so that time goes by, everything's cool. We see her movie with her. I actually do some photography for her, just taking pictures of her, walking the little carpet and everything. And she comes back to Miami. We actually helped her get the hotel, so we picked the hotel for her to stay at and
oh
everything.
wow.
We get a call from her friend frantically at about 5 in the morning, that there's no water pressure in the hotel, and that we need to find her a hairdresser because she has frizzy hair, and if she does not have the hair the way she wants it, she's gonna. So I'm like, Elvira hates me. I can't believe this, but Elvira hates me, and she's never gonna let go of this. I'm convinced of it. So we were scrambling. We found a place, and we decided not to go. It was not set in stone. We felt like her husband really didn't communicate it. We're like, she's probably not, because she didn't mention it. It wasn't mentioned. And she very begrudgingly gave me her phone number to call her back and forth, because we had to find this hairdresser place. Well, she left a message. Her friend left a message. She sounded a lot better. I had since talked to a friend of hers who was like, you know what, it happens. She gets stressed. You should have just met her. She probably felt really bad about it,
Aw.
whatnot. So I then meet her like 2 more times at events, and I'm like, I know she doesn't know me. I'm like, I'm bringing anything up. I know she doesn't. Right, I know she doesn't remember me.
Don't want to spring that on her.
Right, I don't
Hey,
want. I'm
remember
like,
me? Water
I'm
pressure.
sure she does. I mean, how many people does she meet in a year? Like I know she doesn't meet me. Years had passed, and I swear the other couple times I met this woman, she acted like I pissed in her cornflakes. She was so not happy, but didn't say that she knew me. Didn't say anything about it, and I was just like, she hates me. Oh my god, she remembers but isn't telling me. So I met her in character. We took a picture. I tweeted it out at the time. She was retweeting everybody's photos, right? Like everybody was tweeting. She was retweeting everybody's. She only liked mine and didn't retweet the photo. And I had I don't know. She must have remembered. I don't know.
Yeah,
So.
there's something to be said subliminally there.
Oh well, Elvira. I'm so sorry that
maybe this is your public apology.
Apology. I'm so
You're
sorry
coming
for the
clean,
water breath. I mean, we all get frizzy hair sometimes. I can understand a photo shoot is ruined. So how could I have known? I'm so sorry.
But ultimately, wouldn't Elvira, if I can talk to you, Cassandra, one-on-one here, wouldn't that be the hotel's problem?
Right. I mean, exactly.
Let bygones be bygones.
I can't be blamed for. I would have offered to have washed her hair for her at that point because I was so nervous. But I don't know.
Put on the beehive too. I mean,
just throw. Yeah, exactly. Nobody's looking. Nobody's.
Just as Elvira.
Right. Well, as RuPaul says, unless they're paying me more money to be in that drag. So I think she was there just as herself.
Yeah.
Because who wants to do appearances like having to dress like that all the time? So.
Well, and I'm sure at the end of the day, just like with any other attire, that is probably the hottest get up. Even though there's a lot of exposure, it's very hot.
You got to look all perfect and statuesque and everything.
Statuesque.
Don't want anything falling out, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? The time I did see her dressed as Elvira, she really did think that they must not show that when it's on TV because she kept doing this and I could see her squirming and pulling, making sure like she was very careful. She did not want anybody to see
malfunctions, right?
No wardrobe, exactly. This was before all that even. So so what we're going to do right now is what we're calling a rapid fire round because we figured out we could not make a list and we couldn't put all the characters on that we wanted to put on there. So I said, well, let's just throw out names. I'll start and you go, I go, and we'll do as much as we can in 25 seconds.
Are we showing examples too, or are we just naming?
No, we'll just name them. If we want to show examples after, we can do that. But I think we should just name them. 25 seconds. Do you think we could do? You think we can do that? Okay.
I think we can.
All right, and so I guess I'll start. I've completely forgotten. I've forgotten everyone that I had on my mental list here. Okay.
That's okay. This is what makes a live fun.
Okay. No, I'm not gonna remember anybody now. Okay, are we ready?
I'm ready.
All right, 25 seconds is on the clock, and I will start now. Okay, Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Perfect. Rainbow Bright.
Maleficent.
Okay, how about, let's say, Strawberry Shortcake?
Augur from The Dark Crystal.
Okay, how about, we'll say Rose Petal from Rose Petal Place?
Breathless Mahoney.
Okay, ooh, that's a good one. How about Doris Misty Vaughn from Pee-wee's Playhouse?
That was 25 seconds.
Well,
wow.
I talked a little bit. I can't talk, so.
And now it doesn't want to shut off, so there we go. We'll just listen to that the whole time. I couldn't even get all of those people in my list. There was I'll throw out a couple. There was Catwoman.
Yeah.
That we've got. There was I was going to say Sour Grapes from Strawberry Shortcake. Yeah. Loved Sour Grapes. Smurfette is another one.
Totally
Chitara.
Smurfette.
Chitara was another one from Thundercats.
Oh, truly, truly, truly outrageous. Calm down. Jesus.
I
Gem
I
is
told
coming.
them I told them that there might be something coming up, and she's fantastic. Now, Chitara was on my list, but I
Well,
couldn't. I can only pick 5. We only had to pick 5. Like it
yeah.
was too difficult. I could pick 30.
And then the Silverhawks, and her name escapes me, but like there's that. Then there was the Aquanauts, and like all of these like, you know, kind of like G.I. Joe stylized Mask. There was Veronica. Like there's all of these characters, these female characters throughout the 80s that like, guys, come on, we can have a part 2 of this. I mean,
3 and 4 and 5.
We can go on and on and on.
She's
and
fantastic.
Still,
is not having it.
We can say Care Bears. The Care Bears aren't in there. You know, like there's a lot.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, every one of those characters, every one of those. I mean, every one of those cartoons had a female character in it. So, and then of course there's the villains and the princesses from Disney and everything. I mean, like Lady Tremaine and Evil Queen and.
Now, VHS Script said Melodia. I'm not familiar with her off the top of my head. Do we know who?
I don't know who
Help
Melodia
me out,
is.
Where's she from? Throw me a line.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Lily Munster was another one. Speaking of the
well, and then we
the Baroness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we could talk about
Saoirse from Willow. Oh yes. They're making a new Willow. Are they not, Guys Dolls? I believe they announced a Willow show is coming. I believe. Silverhawks.
Melodia. Oh my god.
And did you see Super 7 is coming out?
$55 a pop. Thank God we
have
children.
Guy, I know. Well, you know, Super 7 is really gonna just. I mean, because they've done a lot of this stuff that I have. They did the Shadow Weaver figures. Yes. They have the Teela and Evelyn that had come out as well.
Oh, do you have?
You have them. Oh, look at this.
I have.
Look at this.
I have the good side. You have Skeletor's evil forces there.
But look, I mean, this is what I wanted back in the day. This is exactly what I wanted.
Well,
this Evelyn looking with the cape and looking like the cartoon.
Mattel reused Teela's buck for Evelyn. Just changed the head sculpt. That was it.
Yep.
That's how much they invested in female characters. And Teela was one of, according to a lot of these new documentaries we're seeing, Teela sold really well.
I know where you go. Yep. She was one of the popular ones.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, you know, a female figure, April O'Neil. We didn't mention her.
Oh, April O'Neil. Oh my gosh. And I just saw, I have my Ravishing Reporter April O'Neil figure with the rooted hair and everything.
Yes.
Yep. She's another one. Yeah. There's just too many of them. There's just too many.
There is, behind every successful toy line, there is at least one strong female character. So,
and she was always somehow the scene stealer.
Yeah, well, Janine from Ghostbusters too.
Oh, she was on my list too. Oh my god.
So,
Janine, love Janine.
I really enjoyed Kenner, like you mentioned, Catwoman. Janine was Ghostbusters. You know, the Kenner female figures were always pretty well done. Like Melodia was Kenner did Silverhawks, I believe, too. So, you know,
they didn't dumb it down.
No. And then, of course,
they gave us a female character.
You get into Toy Biz, who had the Marvel license, and then you have Storm, you have those Rogue. I mean, you have all of the X-Men characters. You know,
right.
And then for me, my favorite is, and I'm just going to do this real quick, but like Starfire from Spider-Man and Friends.
Yeah.
Firestar. I'm sorry, I said Starfire. That's a different character.
Firestar, yeah.
But Firestar was always another red-haired character that I absolutely loved. And it was because of the Spider-Man and Friends Saturday morning cartoon. So.
Yep. Yeah, and they're making like little 3-inch figures now from that. Like they have Spider-Man, and I think they did Iceman. So I'm hoping. Yeah, there it is. You have it. See there.
So, no,
I knew it.
Well, this is Miss Marvel.
Right. But I'm thinking they'll make one. Don't you think?
So, but I actually have this Firestar figure when they did the articulated, like G.I. Joe style ones. So,
but I think they'll end up making another one of her. I think because people seem to really like her.
So Yeah, I totally agree that she is probably one of the more underrated favorites. Just because I absolutely love her. But I would love to see a 12-inch Barbie style of her.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
they just
absolutely.
did those Marvel. They did Storm, Mystique.
Yeah, just did a few. Yeah.
Phoenix. But ultimately, I would love to see them do a 12-inch Firestar. And it would be cool to do a Iceman, Ken style, Spider-Man, Ken style. And then
yeah, all of that would be fun. Yeah, it really would.
Give us us.
Speaking of, one of the characters I threw out there was Smurfette.
Yes.
And I have to announce some of this stuff because it's just, we were talking about it earlier in the beginning, and we were sponsored by Preppy Pop. They do the shirt that I'm wearing right now is by them, and it's olive oil themed. So she is fully embroidered on there, and then she is on inside the collar and everything, and I just loved it. I saw it immediately. I was like, this is amazing. So Preppy Pop does very stylish clothes with characters on them. They're not loud. You can wear them anywhere. You can wear them to work. And they are going to be doing a line of Care Bears, which I had showed you. And it's going to be each color, and it's going to have a different, the different symbol on each arm. They're going to have the symbol and everything. And it just look there you go. They have all the colors. There you go. And I'll post them. I'll probably post them in the story, but I'll make a post too about it and show you. They gave us a sneak peek, so I'll be posting that later so that you can see that. But they're also going to be doing a Smurfette shirt, just like this, she's going to be embroidered on this. She's going to be in the collar. And exciting. There's the little outlines of a regular Smurf. And so it kind of looks like a paisley pattern until you look up close and you can see it's Smurfs. So it's really, really, really nice. That was one of the ones I was just like, I've got to show that one. I asked them, I said, can we please show these? Because these are too amazing. Like, I can't tell them and not post about them. So they said, yeah. So I'll be posting those later. They gave us a first look at them.
And on their page, just if you follow them, you can keep tabs on when things will be released on merch and some of the stuff that's already out there. And
so the Care Bears and Smurfette are probably going to be toward the end of the year. And they look amazing, and so I'll be posting about that. So yeah, follow them for sure. But they are also nice enough to give me a code that you can use for 30% off, and it's I'm Not Bad, all capital letters, and just you can use it and you can get 30% off. You can get this amazing shirt, and I actually have an older figure here of classic Olive Oil. She was always how I went from Olive Oil to Jessica Rabbit. I don't know. You would not think that they.
There's quite a contrast between Olive Oil, Elvira, Jessica Rabbit. Like
I know, right? Elvira and Dolly Parton, and Jessica Rabbit and Olive Oil. This is how they go together. So, it's that exact
about
look.
Olive Oil and because.
About her? I mean, I always loved the character, but I think really what it was the Popeye movie with Shelly Duvall and Robin Williams. And if you haven't seen that, you have to watch it. It's not gotten the kindest reviews, and it's this fairy tale. It's just a Popeye episode, basically. But Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall are so good as the characters that it just makes the movie. You just want to keep watching them. But of course, they were on in the 80s. You watch them all the time. You watch them as kids and everything. And I just always. Oh, look, you sound just Shelley Duvall, yes, guys, dolls. Shelley Duvall was just amazing. I mean, I watched some of her other things. She didn't have the biggest range. It's The Shining and Popeye. If you want to see her go from one to the next, that's her range. Really was. She probably just didn't get the do that really because if you can go from one to the other, it's pretty amazing. So if you want to see her.
Have you seen the loop of her doing her introduction for that? Yes, Fairy Tale Theater. Yes.
Yeah. That's another. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall.
Hi,
I'm Shelley Duvall. It was like you said, the range was.
Yep.
But hey, she
seemed minimal, right?
In her own right. So.
Everybody's
got a purpose. So.
Yeah, but she is great in that, and that really, I think. I think olive oil more that aside from the character. Like I would love a doll or a figure of Shelley Duvall and Robin Williams as the characters. That would be amazing.
Well,
But you
I
know, just
think that would be really cool, but like there might be a lot of licensing and estate issues with Robin
yeah,
Williams.
there might be for both of them though, especially for both of them. But that's sad. I mean, I'd rather see something, even if it was a shirt, a T-shirt, or something. You know, that would be great.
With a lot of our creative, T-shirt outlets and sources that we have out there, Redbubble and all of these places out there,
it's possible. Yeah,
there's definitely, I'm sure,
it's a possibility. Yeah,
there's got to be something that we can get.
Yeah. So on that note, again, I showing the details and check out Preppy Pop. Follow them.
Yeah,
I want more people to get to know them. I want more people to buy their stuff. This is a great shirt. It is polyester. I was kind of afraid because I don't necessarily like polyester, but this is so light and it feels so good. It's not like.
Were you afraid that it would chafe you like the metal bikini?
It would just like the metal bikini. Yeah, no, nothing chafes you like the metal bikini. I'll tell you that much. Especially that thong.
How about the metal jockstrap?
Oh yeah, no, that's a whole other.
That's a whole other.
I didn't even know they had those.
Oh, girl, you haven't lived. Let me tell you.
Under lock and key, I suppose, right?
Yeah, it's more like a chastity belt at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole other live, though.
Yeah.
Live.
That's the next one. No.
So part 2's coming soon.
Yeah, part 2 is going to be a real crazy one.
Epic.
So your next character, we're going to get back to our characters, our last 5. This is a character everybody knows. Every boy probably stole his sister's doll at some point, and for was it 60 years now that it's been the main doll?
60 years.
Is it over 60 years now?
1959. So while we're doing math with our calculators, let's figure that one out. But we just had 60 years last year, so this will be the 61st year.
Right. Okay.
So we have just cleared that. And, since we're showing off shirts, now mine is not as cool as yours, but it ties in with my number one.
It's the same. Look at that. That is a cool shirt. I like that.
So this is, of course,
80s,
Barbie.
Total 80s Barbie,
yes.
Right?
And this is kind of based off of like Marvel's graphics of her when they did the comic book for her. So the doll, of course, is Barbie. And I mentioned her in the beginning that Barbie was literally the first thing that I laid eyes on that couldn't have because I was a boy, and became instantly obsessed. My story with Barbie begins first seeing the Crystal Barbie commercial back in 1984, and I would have been 3 years old at the time, and I was just instantly mesmerized. And this is the doll that I'm referring to here. So here is Crystal Barbie in all of her light.
I do remember that. I do remember that one.
Iridescent, 80s glamour. She was just, everything from glitter pumps, clear, like Cinderella glitter pumps, to this, disco evening gown, so dancing and this. At that time, Barbie always had something that was change around or like many different looks kind of thing. And in the commercial, like they would style this boa around her head and, she'd wrap it 1,000 different ways. And the girls in the commercial always looked like they were having so much fun with her and Ken. And I was like this blonde, and like, let's face it, in the 80s, blonde hair, blue eyes, models, everything were everywhere. And that
red shoes, red heels, gloves.
Yeah. Like that's what you were seeing. So it was like, this was just that I want to say like that archetype of like what, I was just obsessed with. And,
she was the one, she was the go-to. She was the main doll. Yeah.
And of course, going over to, either taking your sisters or going over to a relative's house or like a friend of the family. My parents, their friends have a daughter my age, and she had a playroom that had Barbies wall to wall. And when I would
dream come true.
Yeah, I would literally be like, oh my God. And she was very athletic too. So she'd be like, you guys want to go like shoot basketball? And I'd be like, no, I'm good.
I'll play with the Barbies.
Yeah, I'm like, let's just stay in here. Like, we can play with something in here. It's cool. And it was always like one of those things where, Barbie was like, it was just within reach. And like some of the Barbies that really like resonated with me, like we talked about, like with the change arounds, outfits and stuff. So like Barbie, Of course,
Yep.
this is a reproduction. But this is Barbie as I became infatuated with her.
Remember it, yeah.
And it
yeah.
was like, not only is it just this one doll, there's this doll. There's Day to Night Barbie, and then there was
Peaches and Cream, yeah.
And it was always this very glamorous lifestyle, this very lifestyles of the rich and famous, this 80s opulence, but just really attainable. You could check this out. You could change
approachable, and yeah.
Get her hair wet.
The way they made the character, the look of the face, everything, yeah. And the 80s, I feel like, produced probably the most. I feel like she was almost the most popular in the 80s.
I mean,
is what it seemed like.
The Jill Barad era of Barbie, which also who kind of had a hand in She-Ra and taking like Mattel to the next level. And at the time, Jill Barad was one of the executives at Mattel who worked her way up to CEO. But she took care of Barbie more so than any other CEO ever did.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, you can tell.
The core brand that she nurtured and really took to the next level. So, in the mid 80s, Barbie was still kind of struggling. And then Jill Barad really
changed it,
with this guerrilla marketing style and got Barbie to that next level and really started pushing for more of this brand recognition and got Barbie put into a lot of other countries too. I mean, she brought Barbie across the world.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of Barbie's success attributed to Jill Barad and of course the other designers at the time who really had their ingenuity and really were tested with bringing Barbie into a whole world of. And then girls went from owning 1 or 2 to owning like 10 to
20, yeah.
Now it's like, and now there's the collectors who are waxing for nostalgia for Barbie.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
But, Barbie spoke.
Everything is nostalgia. Even Barbie.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that, these toys that I still remember seeing on TV are now sometimes, sought after and it's like I
you had them in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy to me to think that, as a little kid, this was a no.
Yeah.
But what's the big deal?
Right.
I mean,
speaking of that, people have said often that, boys having dolls or playing with dolls and stuff, it teaches them to be a better person, a good father, right? And that's something that was, I guess, was overlooked. It was just seen as, no, boys cannot play with dolls. It's just wrong. And again, it's gay. And so we don't, that's not, acceptable. And certainly wasn't back then.
My biggest pet peeve too is when somebody says that playing with a specific something or doing a certain something or whatever, if a boy dances, that'll make him gay.
It's sissy or it's gay.
Yeah,
If he
plays with a doll, that'll make him gay.
Yeah.
Listen, if the kid's gonna be gay, he's gonna be gay.
It's already there.
It has nothing to do with the toy, the clothing.
No.
It's something that you innately have inside of you.
Yeah.
It is not an external. I mean, there are so many fallacies about it, and you don't know unless you live it. But at the end of the day, I could have played with action figures my whole life and never touched a girl toy. But at the end of the day, this is what I wanted. This is and this is who I knew I was. So it's like it doesn't seem foreign to me at all.
And why I jokingly named this The Toys That Made Us Gay, because clearly they did not. But that was that was why we were not allowed to have a lot of these things.
But we can also flip the script because, of course, we all know that gay has another meaning, which is happy, right? So
there you go.
Happy
they
are
the.
So literally, these are the things that we wanted, and these things made us happy, and they make us happy now.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we all hold these tent poles of toys or events or movies or whatever. These markings, these benchmarks in our lives, they bring back these great memories. And this is across the board. This isn't exclusive to us as gay men. We're toy nerds across the world. you know?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's changed so much. I
Yeah.
mean, like we were talking about seeing the female character, and now you go down a toy aisle that's supposed to be a boys' toy aisle,
Yeah.
and there's women action figures all over the place,
Well,
way more than we would have
that's
ever seen.
very true. Like there's that Fortnite line that has a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
characters.
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly surprised to see through the Transformers line that there's an RC.
Yeah, they finally made RC.
Like,
Yeah.
a little more available.
And
GI
they
Joe,
seem
of
to be the
course.
most popular, honestly. It always seems like people, straight or gay, or anything in between, I feel like I see people really wanting the women. They
Yeah.
really, like, it's important to them. And for whatever reason that times had finally changed, luckily, that is acceptable. It's so good to see that's what people's minds are at. They see that women are important. They see that they
Yeah.
can be role models to men, straight, gay, and
Yeah.
and same, for women, liking their characters, liking sports, liking trucks, like it's whatever you want it to be for yourself now. So.
Absolutely. So, but Barbie, I think Barbie as a character, as a doll, as a brand. I mean, as much as people are, talking about her good, bad, and otherwise, she's been around for 60 plus years now, and this is an influence on my life that I'm sure is an influence on a lot of other people's lives, of course, because we have Dollstagram. We have all of these Barbie accounts that people, use and showcase their collection.
Can reach more people,
And look at what it's influencing people to do as far as photography. There's fantastic people that make doll clothing because of Barbie. I mean, Barbie
customizing and
I mean, doll artists, of course, which some people just are fantastic at, and it's just there's so many offshoots of this doll, and what it's inspired and what it's meant to certain people, and the brand's going strong. Love it or hate it where it's at now, it's still going strong. And we always say things. I hate to sound like an old fogey here, but I always will love and uphold the dolls that I grew up with and idolized, and I mean, but there's definitely been some changes in the quality of toys and the safety issues and things like that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm very happy to say that I'm happy that Barbie's still going, because a lot of things have faded fast.
Oh yeah. And well, one of your characters will kind of talk about that, because there was a kind of crazy period there for Barbie. But
there's going to be some clash of brands and toy companies coming up. So truly outrageous is still watching. So.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, I did try to drop hints. I didn't want to spoil everything. But so the next character is the one on my list, and it's probably the main character of all my characters, of course, and that's Jessica Rabbit, which is my Instagram namesake. Do you have something? Are you hiding something back there? Oh, look at you! I
wanted to bring her
out. Look at you! Wow, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you had it. I am shocked, but it's Mattel, so I guess I shouldn't be, right. It is a Mattel doll, and it's part of the family.
When I'm primarily a Barbie collector, but also Disney, and. So, but so that's for you. I brought her out just for you.
Oh, thank you. Now, speaking of which, I have something to show you. Now, I was telling you before, I lost all my light because I thought it was going to be a nice, beautiful, sunny day. And, oh, look at that. Anybody ever see Handmaid's Tale? I'm looking like a commander a little bit. Commander Waterford is here. There is a customizer. His name is Gary Anderson. Gary Anderson 1975 is his account on here. I follow him, and I can put up his stuff later. But he makes different female characters out of old vintage She-Ra toys. So he's made a Wonder Woman out of an old She-Ra toy. He's just now, of course, we did that rapid fire round, and I can't even think. But he did like a Rainbow Bright version, which was really cool. He's just done so many different characters, especially by now. And so I had him custom. I didn't think he was going to be able to do this, because I'm like, oh, I don't think it's not going to work. It's not going to look right. but he customized a She-Ra figure into Jessica Rabbit.
And
So
that's pretty
this
dope.
is this is a vintage She-Ra. It was, I can't remember, maybe Peekaboo. He mixed and matched the parts, and he was able to make it
Wow.
into Jessica. And she even has the little jewel. I said, please still leave the jewel. Can you match it with the dress?
Oh
Because I still
wow.
wanted it to have that feeling. And he was amazing. He even sculpted the little waist with the dress going underneath it.
That's
And
crazy.
I was shocked. So again, his name is Gary Anderson. It's Gary Anderson 1975 on here, but I can repost about it. And I mean, that was just too cool. But you know, since there was the She-Ra connection, I had to show that to you. And one of the first figures of Jessica is this one. It's a flexi figure. It's a bendy figure. There was a whole line of them. Oh, look at that! Look at that! See, we could have just matched up to see which ones we have.
I knew you would have them, but I wanted to be here in solidarity, with you
I
because
I even have a second one still. I
you
actually
get
have
back
three
up.
of them. I
You
have
need to
three
back
of
up.
them,
That's for sure.
just in case.
But Jessica
You never
Rabbit,
know.
I also was one of my absolute favorite Disney, kind of characters. And even though I know she's got multiple,
Mm-hmm.
copyrights, trademarks, but
Disney and Amblin. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So ultimately, though, with Jessica Rabbit, just that kind of, that seeing a cartoon character, an animated character with those proportions and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of adult
The attitude and the
yeah, and and she was more than how she was drawn too. So
Mm-hmm.
like,
Exactly what the line means. Yeah, exactly what that
exactly,
means.
and
Yeah.
exactly what your promo code is. I'm not bad, right? So
Exactly. That's why they figured that out. I didn't have anything, but that is my website name. And funny enough, quite a few people don't know that my website is the imnotbad.com. If in case anybody knows, mostly post on Instagram now. But I had been doing this. I'm going to say I started in 2003. So it's almost 20 years that I've been reporting on Jessica Rabbit stuff and posting and doing now the social media and everything. So that's a long time to be doing this. But of course, I love the character since the movie came out. I was young. I'm not gonna say how old I was, but I was young.
well,
So
I mean, this was 1988, right? Roger Rabbit
mm-hmm.
came out, so
Yep,
I was at
88.
7. So
And
I saw it in theaters, and I was instantly hooked.
yeah,
Like,
me too. Yeah, me too. I saw it twice. And, because of Roger Rabbit, it started that Disney Renaissance. They saw Roger Rabbit and the animation on that, and they knew that they could go forward with The Little Mermaid.
right.
So The Little Mermaid and all those,
So
Beauty and the Beast,
she
the same.
predates the my other favorite redhead. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was the precursor. If it
yeah,
wasn't for Jessica, we might not have had Ariel. And the same people who drew Belle, they animated Jessica Rabbit. So it's this again. It's the same
yeah.
connection. Yeah,
The
yeah.
heels are what kill me
Do you
on.
love the heels? That the heels are sculpted together to the
Yeah,
feet.
because that was always my major complaint with female figures. Now, of course, on the Mattel doll,
It's separate. Yeah,
they're
yeah.
a step above. But like my thing with female characters was they always did a wedge boot on the action
Yep.
figure,
They didn't do the heels.
and they didn't
Yeah.
do the heel. But that was
But
like,
that's how Jessica's feet are.
yeah,
So the heel is so close to the shoe that it doesn't
right.
matter.
It's at least
And
not
then
a wedge, but
you can see behind me, my setup is I have these used to be pretty big. Vinylmation figure is
yeah.
the only one of her that they did with her on it, and I have a statue. She had a makeup line that came out. Now that's something back in the day I certainly wouldn't have been able to get. But Ciate London did a whole makeup line. This is the compact that they had with Jessica is
Wow.
on it, etched on it, and the makeup, which I haven't opened. I opened one, but the powder, they have her image pressed into the powder,
Oh, how
so it's
cool.
like her actual face is pressed in the powder. I have the license plate back there, which was very expensive when that I had seen it on eBay, but I was able to get it cheap. And that is from the Jessica Rabbit store, which I was lucky enough to go to
Which was
when
at
I was
Disney World,
younger.
right?
It was in Pleasure Island, yeah, at the time. And I didn't even know it existed. We just happened to be there, and there was this Jessica store. And I didn't buy that much because I just thought it was going to always be there. I didn't think it was going to close, and it only stayed open for, a year. And the next year that I went, it was gone. It was just not there anymore. So I had only gotten a few things. That was not one of the things. I had to get it later.
Kind of like that Las Vegas cowboy kind of thing they had of her.
Yeah, what is that? The cowgirl with the legs swinging.
Yeah.
Like that was it. Oh, but because you like Madison from Splash, the inspiration for Jessica's store came from Madison because they were supposed to have Madison's Dive, which was a bar that was going to be in Pleasure Island.
Really?
And it was going to have a big mannequin of her with a swinging tail above when you would walk in. Yeah, and they didn't do it. So the swinging tail became the swinging leg of Jessica's.
Oh,
so
how freaking cool is that?
Yeah, which I would have loved to have gone to a Madison Splash themed bar. That would have been like amazing. They may do that now, I don't know. But she's fantastic. I always wanted the Jessica Metacom. I was lucky enough to be able to buy that when it came out. I was able to get it. It was Hobby Link Japan was the name of the website, and they sold the stuff from Japan. It wasn't that expensive at the time, but I got her and I got Roger. I sold Roger. But yeah, that one is probably one of the best pieces. There's that. There's the premium format by Sideshow. Anything by Sideshow Collectibles has been amazing.
Well,
but
Disney had their big statues too at the Disney stores.
The big figures, the big figures,
nice.
Big figs. I have that one. It's down there, and I've got a lot. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff of her. But I guess at the time, what connected me to the characters. I don't know if it has to do with this or not, but possibly. But at the time, my father had been diagnosed with cancer, and it was a very, very difficult time. And that movie came out sort of in between the whole thing, and it blended everything that I thought was amazing. All these cartoon characters, different cartoon characters from different, properties together. Which as a kid, you see that in your head all the time though when you play. You just never saw it on screen. So to see it on screen was amazing. And I always loved animation. I mean, what kid didn't love cartoons and animation? Right. But the way it was so seamlessly combined with the live action, all of that stuff was good. Apart from just her design and me liking, the women characters who stand out. But I think there's always a Disney movie for some period in your life, whether it's bad or good, that gets you through it and it sticks with you your whole life. Yeah. And there's a lot of people who don't understand that, especially about movies and toys and things. They think, oh, well, why you're grown up and why. I still see it sometimes, not as much, but some of the doll pages, they kind of have to stand up for themselves when people are saying, why are you collecting dolls and this and that? But it means something more. And everybody has that. It could be a song, it could be a TV show, it could be a movie, or collecting toys or what have you. But especially Disney, for whatever reason, I think at that time, especially for people our age, there was always a Disney movie coming out, and it probably spoke to you in some way during some either good or bad point in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, I think that's, why that's so special and why it means a lot more than just, the movie and the characters. But of course, that's there. That's absolutely the way all of the cartoons looked. I think I appreciate more of it now as I'm older, all the other stuff, but it was just only Jessica back then. When it came out, it was all Jessica to me.
The crazy thing is like we had talked about with like the Miss Elizabeth and other female figures, like with these bendies, these were the only action figure type toys that were released. And
same company as the Miss Elizabeth, same company. And they did the same thing with the shoe, putting the heel together on that a little bit.
I remember when we first started talking about Jessica back in the day, when we first started to talk to each other, I remember telling you like how I went to they were advertised in the Kmart flyer for that week, and I showed up and they had every other figure but Jessica.
But her, same with me. Yeah.
So
same thing.
Because I at that point was so into getting the female figures that it was
a must have.
And it was the only representation of Jessica that I knew of. So like,
well, and that was what was funny is because I think back in the day they wanted to just market it towards kids, and it wasn't exclusively. So people still kind of get this confused, like, well, this was a kids movie. And I'm like, well, it wasn't.
No,
It wouldn't be in line with, I would say, like South Park or Family Guy, where it's that adult. But now that we have those types of things, people can understand more. Oh, cartoons in these shows don't have to be just for children. This is for an older audience. It was PG-13. So, but what you say is true.
And that's why it was put under the Amblin.
Touchstone. Yep. But what you say is true. There was very little representation of Jessica at that time. But in 2003, that really changed. I don't know what happened or why, but they started releasing pins of her, and I have many. I have about 350, I would say.
Oh my God.
And these are some of the more popular ones. Her dressed as the other characters. This was like an event every year that her as dressed as a Disney character was like you had to be online. They released them at like 3 a.m. Eastern time, and if you didn't get them, they would sell out. So I don't know what happened, but the bulk of those 300 that I have, they were all released from 2003 to about 2000, and it was about a 10-year period.
Oh, wow.
2013. So I don't know who was on her side there. I don't know what deal they made, but she was one of the most popular characters as a pin, and there was this big resurgence of it, all over again. So I couldn't keep up at the time. I would have to keep updating things and putting news out there and everything.
Wow.
But it's changed a little. You don't really see as much, but I will say I'm very happy to say that they just released a Jessica Rabbit LGBT Pride pin, an official Disney pin.
Wow. Nice.
And it's got her, and it's got the rainbow flag behind it in a star. That's the first time that they've ever done that. I couldn't believe that when I saw it. It's like gets me emotional because it's not only Disney as a company finally stepping up and showing their support, because there's so many gay employees, but it's the character as well.
Disney has always, I feel, supported it. Just now it seems like
it's much more public.
Now it's everyday life now. It's not,
and giving back now too. They're giving back with the proceeds now are going toward some programs like Listen and everything. So they are supporting now. They've heard people. They're taking proceeds from all the rainbow sales, and they're putting it toward a good cause. So Guy Dolls, do I have a favorite pin? There's no possible way. If the house was on fire and I had to pick one pin, I would stay in the house. That's it. That's it. I'm going. I'm leaving. I can't. There's no possible way. It ain't happening. It's just not happening.
And also,
I couldn't do it.
I think what's really cool is how you, you kind of, talked about too with like the Jessica Rabbit doll that was put out in 1999. This one, you discussed on your page about.
Oh yeah.
How
I spoke to the designer about that. Yeah.
Lisa Temming. Yeah. So.
Are you familiar with it? Did you know her name?
Yes.
From other stuff. Oh, you did.
I did a lot of research before Instagram, because I'm a big prototype fan, and I love seeing the mock-up.
What ifs?
I love all of that stuff. And the Disney dolls, I was always first a Disney doll collector before I actually got into picking up Barbie stuff. I mean, because I was allowed to have Disney characters. So that was my workaround. So when it came to like the Jessica Rabbit doll, I remember in Barbie Bazaar seeing the prototype, the image of her, and I was like, oh my God, she's fantastic.
Gorge.
And I think we kind of had a similar story, but you pre-ordered her, and
I did based on that first image.
Yes, and then when we actually saw her, it was like.
They changed it. Yeah.
Why did she look more like Betty Boop in the face? Like, why does she have this really kind of just, and I'll pull her hair to the side so you can see that, but like.
And her face is round. If you look at her from the profile, that is how she looked in profile. That is absolutely how she looked in profile. Yeah. But when you turn her around, it just doesn't, doesn't work. I don't know, but.
Yeah, she has a very kind of LOL, oh my God.
Too round. Too round. But, the story on that goes, it was a prototype that Lisa Temming, who was a designer, worked on. She was a huge fan. She wanted it out for the 10th anniversary. It didn't happen. Everyone on Disney was on board with this very character accurate Jessica doll. I mean, as accurate to the movie as possible. But Amblin Entertainment, the co-owner, which is Steven Spielberg's company, would not have it. And they made her change it over and over and over again. They even wanted to put a fake cardboard cutout down the front of Jessica's dress of the booby trap.
Yeah.
They wanted a little cardboard thing. They wanted her to have actual nylons, removable heels, the whole thing, and everything just kept, and they kept cutting the budget on them. So it just couldn't be. And I have pictures on that. I posted it not that long ago. But at least we got that, and I have the Tonner doll as well, which is gorgeous. So at least there's that, but we need another one. It's really,
I think
time.
It's time for
I feel it. It's coming.
accuracy.
I feel it.
It's time for that feel that Jessica, how she walked off of the screen in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That
stole the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my expectation. And then of course, shout out to Kathleen Turner for that breath.
Oh my gosh.
Voice that
her doing the speaking voice and Amy Irving doing the singing voice. And you know what I did? There's those Mego dolls now. They're all coming back out now again. Yeah. I actually customized my own Jessica Rabbit one.
Very cool.
And I designed the card. I had it printed up to make it look like it was real. I did her. I did Eddie. I did Judge Doom. And I even did Dolores, who doesn't nearly get as much attention as she should. Joanna Cassidy, who was amazing, and we love from that.
Yeah, and then of course she went on to Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's
Dead. Yep,
Rose.
I'm right on top of that, Rose.
Yes,
I'm right on top of that, Rose.
Another iconic movie for us. Hey,
so
truly outrageous. Just
how outrageous!
And he said he has to go soon, but he's hanging on. So
okay,
you mind if we talk about the other phenomenal character of that mid-'80s, that right on the cusp of MTV, of fashion,
the music generation, everything,
glamour, glitter, fashion, and fame, that everybody.
Who is it?
I mean, who could it be? Businesswoman by day, musician by night. So this is Jem and the Holograms. For those of you who don't know her, Google. That's all I can say. And you will be obsessed. This is not the original. My original is packed away, but this is the integrity version of classic Jem. So Jem and the Holograms came out as Hasbro's attempt to compete with Barbie, but
dethrone.
Yes, and well, in a whole other way too, because they wanted Jem to stand literally on her own 2 feet. They wanted her to be this unique fashion doll, and at the time, Barbie was a 5 point of articulation. Well, maybe 7 points, including the bend and click knees. So you had the neck swivel, the shoulder swivel, the waist turn, and then the knee bends and the hip joints. So what is that actually?
And slightly different scale too,
right?
Even for Barbie, yeah.
Jem came out, and Hasbro before was known for baby dolls. They did G.I. Joe 12-inch scale. Kenner had Darcy, which was, at some point Kenner was absorbed by Hasbro.
She's fantastic at saying Spectra. I remember Spectra.
Oh, Spectra is another favorite of mine too. Another late 80s goddess. But with Jem came out onto the scene and was a doll with a story. She was Jerrica Benton, and her father passed away. And it was very soap opera-y.
Deep story, yeah.
There was a lot of love triangles. There was rivalry between Jem and the rival band, the Misfits. So Jem's father was a music mogul. So he had created the Starlight Records, which then got passed down to Jerrica. And then he also had created this the synthesizer computer by the name of Synergy, who was revealed to Jerrica, and she then became Jem by the power of the Gemstar earrings. So we all
can use that Synergy thing. Wouldn't that be so easy to live with?
The one thing about 80s shows is there's always a tagline. Masters of the Universe had, I had the power.
I have the power, yeah.
there was always, always a tagline, Thundercats ho, things like that. Well, with Jem, there was no different. G.I. Joe, Yo Joe. But Jem was no different, and it was Showtime synergy. And she would pull on her Gemstar earring and activate synergy to have that holographic, holographic image of Jem projected onto her. So, of course, this was all her alter ego. Nobody but a few close friends knew of Jem's power. So the holograms knew. Kimber is Jem's sister.
Very much a He-Man aspect.
Yes. So, yes, very much.
He-Man, She-Ra aspect, yeah.
And that kind of secret identity, huge in the 80s. What's great about Jem is the love is still there. Jem lasted from 86, 87 to about 80, almost 88. There was plans for an 88 line, I believe. And if I'm wrong, please tell me. Truly, truly outrageous. Because you are the first and foremost authoritarian of Jem. But ultimately, Jem was a very successful launch. And Mattel being Mattel, and we all love Mattel and hate them for what they are sometimes, but they caught wind of Hasbro's secret project. And being that they've already been in production of fashion dolls for a good 20-some years before this, they decided that they would, the best offense is a good defense. And their team went to work. They found out that it was a musical themed doll based off of a rock band.
Yep.
So they went to work.
They weren't going down.
Yep. They came
without
out.
a fight.
Barbie, I love you, but this is where you're a bitch. You came out with Barbie and the Rockers. Hasbro poured their heart and soul into
they really
did. With, prototyping and storylines and correlating this Sunbow TV series with it, and writing these well thought out stories and songs. And Samantha Newark is the singing voice of Jem, and she's still out there living her best life for Jem.
And isn't there a Toys That Made Us documentary that talks about this a little bit?
So the Netflix series does a segment on Barbie. So if you haven't checked it out, it's still on Netflix. Please watch. There's a lot of great stories told about G.I. Joe, He-Man, Barbie. And they do talk about this kind of, this kind of
get into it.
With the competitors. Yeah. So Barbie has always been the head bitch for
the queen.
Yeah.
The queen. Yeah.
Mattel decided that they would get Barbie to market much faster than any other Barbie they've worked on, because they've already have these things, these existing molds, sculpts. They just basically took your superstar Barbie and gave her bandmates and gave this whole new play theme with her.
How quick could they do it was the thing. Yeah. They just wanted it out there before Jem.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, the designer who worked on that project said that they got it to market in 9 months, where it's normally 18 months. And they beat Hasbro.
They were serious. Yeah, they were serious about
it. They spun it to where it looked like Jem copied Barbie.
Yep.
Which was not the case. And, we have to be 1,000% transparent here that, the shrewd business of toys is not always very pleasant, But, with Jem, she was great. She was unlike Barbie.
Arguably better. I feel like Jem was better than the Barbie and the Rockers thing, to be honest.
I agree, but because Barbie had already dominated this market. And
it wasn't going to.
11.5-inch scale and these perfect little feet and this hourglass shape, that Barbie made it clear to Jem that you don't belong here. You don't fit into my world.
You can't sit with us.
Exactly. So Jem stands on her own. Jem definitely, did not last as long. The longevity's not there as far as the toy market is concerned. But fans absolutely love Jem.
Made a comeback, yeah.
We are still here for Jem. Jem, I watched, as a cartoon. I never owned any of the Jem dolls growing up. I remember having that same kind of, but she's not gonna fit in Barbie's shoes. She's not. I remember that, and still gravitating towards Barbie. So, hey, Mattel knew what they were doing. But once again, we talk about Super 7 a lot here. But Super 7,
you do have
released These are the reaction figures of Gem, and then the rival band, the Misfits, which their songs were better. They are the Misfits,
Mm-hmm.
the Misfits. But this is
And they're gonna
Pizzazz.
get her.
This is Gem. Yes, we're gonna get her. This artwork. This is what I remember the most
Love
about
that.
Gem,
Yeah.
is this just like really super lifelike artwork.
And again, look at that. Female characters, you could say, being re-released as action figures that
Right.
would be typically, you would say, is a boy's scale toy kind of
Right.
thing. I mean, it's look how much it's changed. Gem is now an action figure.
And the one thing that's really cool about the Gem collector base, I feel, is that it is predominantly a female base.
Mm-hmm.
And they're putting these out. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there are male collectors for Barbie and Gem, but ultimately, I think Gem resonated a lot with girls who didn't necessarily want to play with Barbies.
Yeah.
You know, Barbie was a kind of cookie cutter, you know, regurgitation of glamour, regurgitation of the opulent lifestyle. Gem was
Well, and there was that show. Gem had her own show with
right.
the music and everything.
And
that was like
it.
amazing.
You had the ties to the music culture that was blowing up at the time with
Mm-hmm.
MTV.
Mm-hmm.
You had tie-ins with MTV. You had the mail-away promo offer for the Gem MTV jacket. You had a lot of things that Barbie wasn't doing. Barbie was not cool enough to do.
Yeah.
Or the risk-taking wasn't
Or,
there.
right. Just wasn't the image. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was the thing, because Mattel was very cautious with as the keeper of the brand for Barbie, under Jill Barad's management. Barbie stayed very much on the safe side of things. You know, very cutesy, very frilly,
appropriate. And,
Gem was not afraid to get gritty. Gem, you know, the Misfits, as the Misfits evolved, you had more of a grittier image, and then of course, you know, they were going to take Gem in a different direction from musician and transition her into kind of a Hollywood vibe, and that's where the line kind of it ended before that began. Now, Gem had took some cues from Barbie in the beginning. Some face sculpts were changed. The Gem Jerica face then went to glitter and gold with the open mouth smile to kind of give Gem that more friendly superstar Barbie
different
vibe.
feel. Yeah.
But ultimately, you know, you just had a different scale of fashion doll, and that is what the untimely demise. And then a lot of people, I remember reading on Gem, there was a really great website. So I think it was Gem and the Music is Magic or something like that website. But they talked about start to finish the inception of Gem, Gem's father, the man that kind of like spearheaded the project. Then how, you know, Christy Marks came on and all of the people who worked on Gem and prototype pictures and everything. She originally was going to be named Misty, so it was going to be and if you see the M at the end of like the instruments and stuff, those were original molds that they just kept as M. They kept the M on instead of changing. So there were a lot of changes for Gem, but ultimately she didn't last in the 80s. But then we saw with the insurgence of the Integrity dolls, you know, these came out, about 12
couple years
ago,
right? Yeah, a couple of years ago.
The first wave. So I wanted to have her represented in more of a modern take.
Yeah, it's a great doll too.
And Integrity, as everyone knows, Integrity has these fantastic sculpts and bodies and articulation and their quality of, you know, detail. So Hasbro licensed Gem out to Integrity, and we all know, anybody who knows anything about any little bit of dolls knows that Integrity dolls are not cheap to begin with.
Right.
Their secondary value is even more so. So Gem dolls go for quite a bit outside of the initial retail. So they are something as far as an investment, or, you know, as a collector. But I'm just happy to have a representation. So she definitely is making a comeback, and you know, they're re-released Gem dolls again. They've done new configurations just recently, so there are new Integrity dolls coming out. So,
and then we've got these reaction figures, the action figures coming out. So hopefully they'll do more of those. And,
I would love to see more. I would love to see, you know, more of the holograms and the Misfit bandmates come out. I would
Mm-hmm.
love to see a Jerica action figure. I would love to
Mm-hmm.
see one that was a changeable. That's the one thing about toys.
Yeah.
Any type of feature that is a changeable transformation, magical color change,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Even pop off
Glittery,
hairs.
anything, yeah.
Give me a Gem Jerica that I can pop the hair off. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you're listening, Super 7, just some great ideas. But anyway, but yeah, so Gem is definitely a great icon of the 80s. And Hasbro did a great job with her. It's just sad that, they did their best, but it didn't have that
It couldn't
longevity.
compete. It couldn't compete with
I
Bar.
mean,
That was
they had a
smart. That
plan.
was strategic.
They had a plan for, to Gem for her to transition into that Hollywood aspect, that starlet,
Look, yeah.
and how many musicians now have J-Lo, for instance, have
Oh,
gone
yeah.
from music to acting
Mm-hmm.
and everything
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
producing, and it's like, that could have been, Gem. That could have been Gem.
Yeah.
That could have been the archetype for that, but
Yeah.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
But that's what's great about Gem is she has a stronghold in a lot of
Still hanging on. Yeah.
yes.
No, it's good to see this resurgence. I mean, I see it, all the time when I'm scrolling stuff on Instagram. It's just still a popular character, and people still want to see more. So
Absolutely.
I guess we may. So the next character is mine, and it's actually a character from way back in the day, and I liked her way back in the day, because I'm older than the character. But it's the character Pauline
Yeah.
from Donkey Kong. Now, up until recently, she was pretty. Nobody didn't talk about the character. It was just like an MIA character. It was just that one game, and that was it. But Pauline happens to now be kind of on the rise again in the Mario games. I play Mario Kart Tour on my phone, and they released her on that, and I do have all the versions of her. There's like 3 versions of her, so I had to make sure I got them all. But funny enough, there's a lot of people who think she's new. Like, they think she's a new character, and they don't realize, of the Mario characters, she's the original 3. It was Mario, Donkey Kong, and Pauline. She was the original ones, and it's actually the 40th anniversary this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think people usually think like Princess Peach or Toadstool are like,
Mm-hmm.
and you're absolutely right.
There's my Princess Toadstool. But there was a figure of Pauline that was released way back in 1981, and this was it. This was the first Pauline released. She was blonde back then, and you can see looking very much like Peach.
Yes. Oh my God. So I have to tell you, when I was a kid, my friend Jessica, the one that I gave my She-Ra to, she had this, and I never knew what it was, or what it was supposed to do.
Who
but
she
I
was
just
for? Yeah.
remember this little tiny woman in a red dress with blonde hair, and I loved anything that was a small PVC figure that was
that was like a sexy cat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
oh my
she
God.
got the ripped dress and everything. I mean, it's just it didn't get any better than that for me, sadly. This little tiny figure, and that was it. I was happy with that. And since she was released in Super Mario Odyssey, she kind of re-debuted as Mayor Pauline, and I have from Japan the newest Mayor Pauline figure. So this was released in Japan. You can only get it in Japan. They don't have any Pauline merchandise yet that's new. You can see they changed her look a little bit. She has brown hair now, and there they are side by side.
Wow. Now, do you think they did that so there would be less confusion between her and Peach?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They absolutely had to, I'm sure, because, when you look at this, it really, and I think, when I look at the pictures of Pauline that they drew like this, she looked kind of like Farrah Fawcett.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's where, and even the red, the red thing and everything. And you can see the wings on the hair, and I think they were going for Farrah Fawcett, and that was just her look. And then they really took Peach from this for sure, which I still call her Princess Toadstool because she was.
Do you remember the Super Mario Hour, like the Super Mario cartoon that would come on? Like,
oh yeah,
and she was Princess Toadstool there.
Yeah, she was. And you can see that looks very much like how Pauline looked, the wings on the hair. So I think they just kind of said, well, let's just redesign. So I feel like this is almost Pauline, but they just designed her to, to be, because she didn't look like that. Even in the game, she had the orange hair,
Yeah.
and she had the white dress, and it's back there, if you can see it, but it was a very different look that they ended up going with, but it was more Pauline's look that they, I guess, stole, like, so then they redid Pauline years later when they put it on Game Boy. They changed her look to look like that in Game Boy, and then that was 1994, and then there was a couple little games in between, like here and there, and then she was just gone again. So it's
with your arcade, the little figure that's next to the arcade game.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember, and I could be making this up, was there a compartment? Like, did a battery go in there?
No.
Did it open or something?
No, it doesn't. There is one that does.
It wasn't
a
candy dispenser or something like
that. No,
Okay.
There are, though. They do have those. There are ones that just her image on it, but they did have those as well.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like candy that came out of it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, for some reason, I was just thinking, I was like, but wait a second, was there an opening or something in that? Like, okay, just curious. Now, who made that original?
Oh gosh. Well, let me see that. I don't know. I don't even know if it's on here. I bet I may not be. Coleco.
Oh, okay. So
Coleco was making their own toys and stuff.
Yeah. So Coleco, who made Cabbage Patch Kids back then.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And I see Kel saying that they waited 30 years for the Peach figure. Yeah, I did too. I didn't think I was going to find it. I saw it in Target one day, like a year after it had come out, and I grabbed it. And so now I'm waiting on a Pauline action figure, which I hope they do. Yeah, VHS Crypt New Coleco.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that, and then
everyone knew.
Everyone knew. Yeah, everybody, which is surprising because I didn't think anybody knew this character. So when she came out in Mario Odyssey and everyone was so excited, I'm like, how do they even know who she is? Like, I can't even believe they're like half my age. Like, how do they even know who she is? And she took off as a character. I can't even believe how excited people were.
Well, and I think too with the the being more comfortable with being a gamer and stuff now too. People are more like, we want merchandise with these characters that we've grown up
and to play as the character. It's the same thing as playing as the character. I mean, that's for what it was for me, watching movies and playing with the toys. Well, you have a video game. Clearly, you may pick, the female character of the group. And I certainly did. I always played as Peach in Super Mario 2. That was probably my more favorite game, I would say. I always played as her. And now Pauline is finally playable after 40 years. They're just announced she's in Mario Golf is the next one that's coming out. So, and that looked actually pretty cool. I'm not much into them sports games, but it did look kind of fun, actually. Even as a game, I ain't into it, but it looked fun. So, but I think, that's what it was for me. Is just growing up, identifying with these different characters, usually women, but you didn't get to play with them as a character. You didn't get to play as them. Maybe Miss Pac-Man, who I also love. She was another one that was on my list to throw out of the rapid fire list. She was probably the first female character you could play as, and she was just a dot, basically.
I think that's a pretty accurate assessment of.
I think so. I think she goes down in that, is that she is technically the first, and she was big. I mean, as you probably know, she was huge back. Pac-Man was everywhere back then. Same with Donkey Kong, Pauline, and Mario in the early '80s. They had their Saturday morning cartoon. There was the breakfast cereal. And I had all that stuff associated back then.
Yeah.
I had all that stuff. And then that character kind of just disappeared. So I'm glad to see that she's back. And I'm, excited. I'm hoping there's going to be more merch that comes out.
And I think that's the one thing, too, that we, as kids, always looked for and were excited to find was when our favorite character that we identified with had representation within the toy world, or some type of way for us to even connect with it more. And that's always what I looked for when it came to these action figures, regardless of the character or the series or whatever. I always wanted some way that I could play out or get to, use that character and whether it was an action figure, a doll, or a video game character, whatever,
Right.
you know, just to be able to live through that character for a minute. I always
It's almost like you say with Ariel, like not having the choice. It's like we're being told we can't have the choice of liking or wanting this character or this toy, or
yeah.
it's getting something taken away and being told no. You
Yeah.
know, it really is that theme. It
Yeah,
seems like, yeah.
It really is. So.
Do I say Mario really weird? Us Just Ballroom is saying I love the way you say Mario. I say Mario. Am I saying
think
it?
You say it kind of like a New Yorker, like you kind of.
Well, I am a New. I'm from New York.
Yeah, so you kind of have that.
So I say Mario.
Yeah, I would say Mario.
And I also say chocolate, and I also say I'm going to the mall. So I say things very differently in New York.
Water. How do you say water?
I say water now. Does it still sound weird when I say it, water? I probably would have said it a little bit more younger, because now I don't live in New York.
I feel like your A is kind of an O-ish kind of sound.
Yeah.
Like water.
Water. Yeah. I don't quite say water, but I'll say chocolate. I'll say some weird things I say, like I say mayonnaise, because there's a damn O in that spell. It's mayonnaise. That's how you say it. Mayo.
Well, that's what.
And syrup. I say syrup instead of syrup. Oh no, why you say syrup?
I don't even know. I haven't had. I think I say syrup.
Syrup. Yeah, I say syrup. Heavy on the wall.
But I do say soda, and pop is what's like the regional dialect around here.
Yeah, I don't say pop. Yeah, I say soda. Guy Doll saying, what about the Mortal Kombat girls? See, I didn't get into Mortal Kombat girls. I arcade games. I don't know if they were Mortal Kombat or not, but I always liked the poor girl who got kidnapped. Like there was always one where like they say somebody got kidnapped or something like that in the beginning of the whole game would be starting. And I don't know, I always felt bad. I don't know if you can fight as them or not, or what it was, but I know not Mortal Kombat, but Double Dragon. Maybe it was Double Dragon I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Double
You
Dragon.
can fight as one, or you can fight against one of the girls, something like that. I don't remember. I always liked.
I know Double Dragon started out with
they kidnapped something, right? They kidnapped.
Yeah. Tiger game, and that's how it started off. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't get into much of the fighting. I know there's Chun-Li or one of those.
It was Street Fighter.
Am I saying so? Yeah. Okay. And they're making figures of her now.
Yeah. So, that was the thing too, because with video games, it allowed you to play, especially like with the more like physical games. Mm-hmm. I remember when we had a Commodore 64 when I was a kid, and we had Atari and stuff like that, but with Commodore 64, I remember wanting to play, like it was the Olympics. It was the Winter Olympics, and we had the summer one. And I used to always play the figure skating one, but it was a female.
Had a skirt. Did it have a skirt? Yeah.
And
it was just a little pixely thing, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, it was the best of animation. But that was one of the things. And then with GI Joe, we had the Commodore 64 GI Joe game. And I could be Scarlet, and that was everything to me, because as you guys will hear, GI Joe and Scarlet and all the Joe gals were my favorites. So back in the day, this was what Pauline looked like. That was it. That was just boxes, just a little. You couldn't even tell who that was. The
one on. Yeah, I mean, who is that? It could be anybody, really. It could be E.T.
It looks like E.T. in the wig. It really does.
Yes, oh my God, let me tell you, E.T. in drag was always my favorite part. Of course, naturally, right? That would be the favorite part. But it's funny, we didn't talk much. I see Guy also saying Dragon's Lair, Princess Daphne. I don't know if you've heard of that character, but yes, Princess Daphne.
I remember the game, but I don't remember. Yeah. I don't remember too much about. I've seen her in different things.
Very. The body shape and everything is very out there.
What looks like to me is. Do you remember Don Bluth's Thumbelina?
I think it's Don Bluth did the animation.
Yes.
I think they did do the animation. Yeah, but we really didn't have superhero characters on here, but our last pick, which is your last pick, actually is.
Yes, I think she is the absolute quintessential female. When you think female superhero, this is, I think, who comes to most people's minds. But you know, it could just be me. But I mean, I did mention Firestar earlier, but you know, I think with Wonder Woman, I think that's when you think of like a strong superhero first, superhero female, this is who I think of. So Wonder Woman was also in a lot of lines the only female superhero represented. So when I think back to like the Super Friends cartoon, there was her, and then there was is it Cheetah, and then there were the Wonder Twins, I think.
Yeah.
She would be more than likely the only one to get a figure out of those lines. So Wonder Woman. Now this, of course, is the movie-based Wonder Woman doll put out by Mattel in the Gal Gadot. Is that how you say it? Gal Gadot. I always say.
I think you say. I don't know. I hear people saying it different ways, but I thought it was Gadot with the T saying. But I don't know. I hear it saying different sayings of it.
We'll just call her Mario right now. How about that?
It's Mario.
Yeah. But we'll say though that Wonder Woman, for the most part, had always been an acceptable figure to have because.
Now, did you like Linda Carter?
Oh my God!
Come on, right?
How many times did I spin in my living room or outside?
Yes. Me too.
If I spun fast enough, I would transform into some superhero character because of that. And let's just face it. Granted, you know, the costuming and things like that for the time, you know, it was very, you know, it was more pinup than it was.
It was representative of that time, yeah.
But geez, oh man, if they picked anybody else to be in that costume, I don't think it would have worked.
It wouldn't have worked, yeah.
The beauty that she is and the physical attributes as far as her body type and everything, but like the physical nature that she had to, you know, the role that she performed and the stunts and just the act. I mean, I would watch Wonder Woman as a kid and just be mesmerized by her, you know, the gorgeous hair, everything, and just how she did it in boots, you know, I mean,
and heels, yeah.
Yeah, she had the stilettos. I mean, she was my favorite character for the longest time. So there's always going to be that love for Wonder Woman, and I think Wonder Woman paved the way for the characters like She-Ra, for the characters of, you know, this transformation characters that
lots of
we love with Gem and, you know, Ariel and all this stuff where, you know, the alter ego and the dual life, and once again living a dual life. Hey, how long do you have to live a dual life and pretend to not show interest in, you know,
a certain thing,
and not be yourself,
and being gay, we certainly we can identify with all those themes. We understand what that's like,
and to not be able to live, you know, she couldn't live as Wonder Woman. She had to have this secret identity because society wouldn't really accept her as Wonder Woman without any judgment or any kind of harassment, you know. So you think about that and how that applies to us, and it's no wonder that these characters have such a resounding kind of effect on us, you know. But
I know
Wonder Woman's a badass for sure.
And you know, it's funny when people talk about, and because you have a lot of things that are changing. You know, they're not saying Miss Marvel, or that, you know, they don't want She-Ra. They redid She-Ra not really wearing the kind of outfit that she was wearing before. And to me, that always seemed more powerful.
Yeah.
That you can be in heels and you can still do the work, because it's almost like saying, you know, somebody made me even wear this, or hey, even I want to wear this or whatever, and I can still do it. It doesn't matter. It has no effect on me whatsoever. I could still look amazing. I could still have the hair and the nails and the shoes.
Yeah. And this is the thing. I know it's could be argued that it is a male perception of what femininity is.
Right.
And I get that, but also at the time, it's like, you know, a woman should be able to choose to wear whatever she wants.
Right.
Whatever that may be. Now, granted, these are fictional characters for the most part, but, you know, most of these characters were designed by men. And, you know, I get that the idea was to kind of
give that image.
Let's say
Yeah.
sex them up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think an idealization of beauty or how something should look. If a woman would choose to wear that, I would support that. But it's also in me. It's my preferred aesthetic for my superheroes. I'm not gonna lie. I like a feminine badass.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't mind a woman. And granted, I mean, it's not saying that I'm not objectifying them. I'm truly
right.
not.
Clearly, yeah. Right.
She's just rocking the world with her looks and her strength, her power, her ability to compete and fight, and do what she needs to do to make the world a better place for herself and other people. So,
so she's fantastic at saying Wonder Woman did everything Superman did, but backwards and in heels.
Oh yeah,
so that's exactly true. No. And it's funny that whole thing that you were saying. Oh, I'm dropping things because I want to show you something.
Are you going to show me the bend and snap? Is that what you're getting ready to do?
That's what I was doing. Snap. It's funny because you have this character on your list, but you changed it.
Oh yeah, I did.
There is Daphne, and one of the few Daphne figures that I really, really like.
I did pull her out for rapid fire though.
Oh, you did? See, look at that. See,
you have the
wait a minute now.
Ariel. I have the new Flexi that's out.
Okay.
I do have her though. And
you do have this one? Yeah, I have all of them here. I was thinking of selling them, and then I'm like, no, I don't want to get rid of them because these are kind of rare-ish, I think, the bigger ones. These were the first action figures that came out of Scooby-Doo, I believe. Right? Which was in like 2000 or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember JCPenney's Christmas catalog had the set of 4, excluding Velma. But they had Daphne, Fred, Scooby, and Shaggy in a 4-pack. And I bought them, and I was a freshman in college when I bought them.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah,
so
that's around that time.
Like,
yeah, you're right.
I never in a million years had ever seen a Daphne figure.
Nope.
Always like...
all that time, yeah.
Why? No, I take that back. The only figural representation that I remember seeing of Daphne was at the Warner Brothers store.
Was it the beanie?
Well, it wasn't the beanie. It was a miniature railroad set with a wind-up train. They were Pauline pocket size. And actually, if you guys look at my account, my mini-me is playing with them at the Barbie Dream House, with the Super Impulse Barbie Dream House. But I have the miniature figures of them, and it was a train set with a little town, a spooky town that it went around on a track.
Oh, that's cool.
I only bought it because of the figures.
Because she was in it, yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that was
I don't know what that was about, that they didn't have. Now, of course, they're everywhere. But, they just did not have any kind of representation of her at all.
Right. And there's actually a really good model kit that was recently put out by Revel, or is it Revel? How would you say that? You're a modeler. How would you say, is it Revel, Revel, or Revel? Because I think I guess I would say Rebel. I guess I don't know.
Well,
they did this easy model kit, which there's no painting or glue involved. It all snaps together. There's a mystery machine that includes Fred and Daphne, and these figures are literally Toon accurate. Like,
wow,
they're like this big, but they're really cool. They have articulation,
and that seems to be the theme now. Toon has to be cartoon accurate is what we want. Yeah,
and that's even like with these. I mean, these little flexies that were put out. I got heard from Hot Topic, but they're pretty. And even the one that you have, that larger figure, that larger scale, that was pretty spot on. For the late '90s, early 2000s. So
I know.
A lot of these characters that didn't get their day in the sun start to kind of come out.
I know, start to be made now. I know. We're throwing money out there. So speaking of Super 7, they're doing those Disney Ultimates figures. They just show that there's Robin Hood, there's Hyacinth Hippo from Fantasia, Alice in Wonderland. I'm hoping that they do Roger and Jessica, because I think they did like them. I know Funko did, and Funko, obviously I've got a lot. Funko loves Roger and Jessica, whoever's there that said that. So they've always tried to make things. So I'm hoping Super 7, because we don't have an actual action figure of Roger or Jessica. It would be
No.
really, really nice to see,
And the
you know,
nice
especially with the way
thing
they look.
like with the Jessica Rabbit, like I remember the Disney Store put out. The Disney Store really actually has a lot of love for Jessica.
Yeah.
So they did with their sketchbook ornaments a few years ago.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
have a Roger and Jessica ornament, which I absolutely have that one. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love the sketchbook series, but even in ornaments, Hallmark did a Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So there are
The
ways,
love is still there.
yeah, there are ways to get these characters, even if they're not in the form that we would prefer them in, an action figure or doll form, but there are still ways to find these characters through other facets of, you know, merchandising, whether it's a t-shirt or a pin or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there are ways to represent. And hey, with the day and age we live in with technology, all you got to do is just put it out there.
Yeah.
You know, and get that ball rolling. And whether it's through a post on Instagram or Facebook or join a chat group or, you know, hey, send a DM directly to whoever's in charge and say, hey, you know, this character needs to be
make this. Yeah.
And I mean, there's been a lot of grassroots, you know, kind of up, you know, with that as far as getting characters included. And we've seen that even with the Masters line where they've listened to the fans. Masters of the Universe classics. And
yeah, they I noticed them doing that with that. I noticed them doing it with Star Wars a little bit. Yeah, they are listening because that's what's going to make the money. If the customer is saying, "Hey, I want this."
And isn't it funny how you we started this off with talking about Princess Leia, and now looking at the Star Wars franchise, and it's female focused now. You know, it is definitely. We started with one strong female character.
Yeah, and that was it.
We are coming to, you know, this decade, and there's more female representation in these films more
than ever. Yeah.
So
yeah,
you know,
yeah, it really makes a difference too.
It's kind of symbolic, you know, if you think about how much power, you know, the feminine presence has. So.
And I think it just shows, you know, again, like where we've come so far, because it's not like it was back then where it's that narrow-minded view and that we can't like this or we can't, or it's you know, things got to be one way or another, and it's got to be very boys toys, girls toys, you know, focus groups and all that kind of crap. It doesn't.
The blue aisle and the pink aisle are gone.
Yeah,
it's definitely, now granted, it's not utopia yet, but
no,
you know,
it's way better.
Judgments are definitely less. Just speaking for personal, you know, from personal experience, my nephew who just turned 7 today, happy birthday to Luca, but
happy birthday.
But he plays Barbie with his sister.
Oh, that's great.
He has the Netflix She-Ra action figure doll I bought for him.
And I'm sure you did too, and I did too. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, that's what, you know.
It's, you know, it's not looked at as I shouldn't be doing this. It's just something that I play, and then he'll play by himself with the dolls in a different way. So like, it's just a toy. It's a vehicle for play. It's a vehicle for expression.
Imagination.
It's not anything that is a predictor of, you know, sexuality or, you know, the way that you're going to live your life. Changing you, Because, okay, so on the same token, if we want to take it a step further and say, well, okay, so Sid from Toy Story, does that mean he's actually out there now as a homicidal maniac?
Right.
You know,
exactly.
He had you know, and mangled toys and put toys in different configurations. So essentially, he's probably a customizer somewhere. You know?
Good point. Oh, that would be funny. Oh, they should have done that.
I just look at it this way. I mean, you know, toys are a way for us to, first of all, play out a story with a certain theme, but also how many times do you take toys and you play out your own role? I can tell you numerous times where I've taken my Masters of the Universe figures, my G.I. Joes, and they all live in one universe in this one storyline. And it's like, it's made up. It's my own fantasy, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's same. I feel like being able to play with these toys or certain toys, and it's certainly growing up, it was that escape when things were very, very difficult. It was that something that I was just able to use my imagination and just be a different person when times were difficult,
Yeah.
or I was being treated badly, you know, because, you know, people thought I was gay, or whatever it was.
Yep.
It just taught me different things, and appreciating the characters, you know, and being able to have that for myself personally, you know, and being able to, I don't know, have a different viewpoint really than not be so closed-minded, not be so narrow-minded, and say, oh, this is a female figure. Why would you like that? Well, why wouldn't?
Yeah. When it comes down to the female role in a lot of things, it was usually like the nurturing, or kind of like the emotional side of things. And then, you know, that's when you saw them, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, women's roles in like film or television shows. You know, like, we grew up in a time of the sitcom, so we had mothers
Mm-hmm.
everywhere
We
around.
had, right.
Family Ties. We had, you know, Mama's Family. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
had all of these shows that the family unit, Growing Pains. You know, all of these shows that had a family unit with a mother, a father, and, you know,
Yeah.
an idealistic kind of
Family. Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
But, you know, we didn't really have strong, not to say we didn't have strong women, but we
Mm-hmm.
didn't have independent from that scenario women. And
Right.
in these shows, these characters, these comics, these video games, that kind of also showed me that, you know, oh, a woman doesn't always have to be tied down to a family. Like,
Right.
Ira
It's
had
not the home.
He-Man
Yeah.
as her family, but she didn't have kids, a husband.
Not the homemaker. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Barbie
Yeah.
didn't have. She wasn't never married to Ken, so
Right.
you know,
Right.
she had an independent lifestyle where she was the breadwinner.
Not a
She
typical.
drove
Yeah.
the Ferrari. She had the dream house. She
The
had the Barbie,
independence. Yeah.
the dream
Yeah.
pool, and so it just kind of it helped break, I think, a stereotype or a perception for me as well. So
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Same with me. Same with me.
so the
So
female
as we end this, I want to give the last shout out. Look, I've got my
yes,
olive oil and sweet pea dolls with me, because I'm wearing my very stylish olive oil shirt with her on the collar and fully embroidered on there. That is all from Preppy Pop. You can follow them on here, please do. And you can check out their store. They have Smurf shirts and they have Popeye. They have Smurfette coming down the line, and they have all the Care Bears in different colors. Happy Pride to you
yes.
too. Yeah, so I'm gonna be posting those shirts, and I said, oh, please, can I post these? So we'll have a sneak peek that they gave us to post of the shirts that'll be coming out probably in the fall sometime.
Which
And
actually isn't
they
all that
gave us,
far away. So
no, it really isn't. Sadly, it's scary. It's going quick. But they gave us a code for 30% off. I'm not bad. All in capital letters. I'll post that too. You can check. I have the ads. Yeah. How did they come up with that? I don't.
I have
That was
no idea.
that was perfect. So I guess we'll close this out. I have this one last thing to show. Everybody's favorite
Yes.
girls. Of course, since it's Pride, the Golden Girls.
Yes.
This is a coveted set right here. And yeah, so that's why we wanted to do this and talk Pride and talk our Pride and talk Pride in our favorite characters. Yes, Spielberg does own half of Roger and Jessica, and the company does have to approve it. So that's why we had the different Mattel dolls and didn't pan out the way it was supposed to be. But thank you very much for this. We really got in depth, and
this was
fun. We could do it again, like longer and longer. We have so many characters that we didn't hit on.
I think that's the thing too, and it's there. I love to hear too when people were commenting about different characters and video games, you know, things like that. There were people that, you know, characters that I completely were kind of outside.
Yep, me too.
So,
me too. Yeah.
So I love this, and I love that we had so many people participate. And thank you for asking me to do this. This was a fun.
Oh, thank you for being
fun thing, and I hope everybody has a fun Pride. I hope everybody celebrates who you are. Live your best life. Be true to yourself. And you know, life is short, so we got to make the most of it. So, you know, express yourself however you feel you need to, but you know, just do it with love and respect everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. Be yourself. love who you love what you love, what characters you love, wear them on a t-shirt, buy their merch, just be you, be authentic,
Yeah.
and have a very happy Pride, very safe Pride still, please. And yeah, this was great. So thank you.
Oh, wait, I forgot one little thing.
Oh wait, is this a pony? Is this
My
are
Little
you...
Pony was a rapid fire, real quick. My Little Pony. Let's get in there. All right, guys.
All right, sir.
It's been fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I look forward to doing this again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.